manufacturer pressure, bonus points pressure. It's all about to boil over, and it will unfold from one of the fastest tracks on this schedule. So let's go trackside for pre-race ceremonies.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Michigan State Police presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Jeff Rose, Vice President of St. Francis High School in Toledo, Ohio, offers today's invocation.
Almighty God, we thank you for a pure Michigan kind of day here at MIS. As we gather here to celebrate, we ask that you keep our troops safe around the world as they are trying to protect us and comfort for their families. Keep our teams and drivers safe as they compete for us today. And we ask this all with great faith, hope, and love. Amen.
Now, here to perform the Star-Spangled Banner, please welcome two members of Midnight Blue, an a cappella group from the University of Michigan, Kate Collier and Chloe Sprague.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free
Final thoughts from the Quicken Loans ESPN Pit Studio. As a winner here, I say R-Dub gets to go first.
Oh, that's nice of you.
I know.
I'm watching Greg Biffle. I really am. Brad, you guys got in the chase last week, right?
Yeah, we're in.
Okay,
That's right.
Biffle's not in, so is Boyer, guys like that. But Biffle, I think, has got the best shot. He tested here. I want to see if that test session works. I'll be watching him today.
And you, sir, winner?
Yeah, Boyer races great on the bubble when there's pressure, so I'll be watching him. But for me, it's pit road. You can't make mistakes. You got to get these guys positions on pit road. You get behind on pit road day, you got a problem.
And I have a legal pad of things that I'm watching out for today, so I'll leave that alone. But I will turn it over now to Alan, DJ, and Andy because their legal pad is just as long.
Thank you, Nicole. Joined by a pretty lady up here in the booth. This is the Michigan Heritage Trophy, topped by Nike, Goddess of Victory, presented to the winning manufacturer after each race here in Michigan. New tradition they started a year ago, and I have this here to symbolize the importance of this race to the manufacturers. There's a lot of pressure and a little added oomph to it today.
Yeah, a little extra pride. And make no mistake, every one of these drivers in this race today understand the importance for their manufacturers of that car that they're driving to try to go to victory lane. You know, it's always nice whenever the salesman in the dealerships on Monday can say, hey, did you see who won the race this past weekend? Helps out a little bit. And some of my most proud moments as a driver were seeing Edsel Ford walk into victory lane to celebrate. Gave me a sense of job security for at least another week.
And it is a source of pride for the manufacturers, and they consider this one of the majors, really, because it is in their backyard. It's kind of their showcase, so they can, especially for Ford and Chevrolet. And it was a lot to be proud of for Chevrolet here in June because the bow ties were well represented. We may see a little bit of something different this week because we in this race because we have some other manufacturers that have shown up some speed, at least in qualifying. The Fords look a little better. We heard them talk about the test session that the Rouse team had. We might see that change a little bit, but every manufacturer, including Toyota, want to put their name on that trophy.
7 of the top 8 in June here were Chevrolets, looking for maybe a little different mix at the top of the leaderboard here this afternoon. Qualifying on Friday. Look at the numbers in that right-hand column. Jeff Gordon, a record 206.5 miles an hour. That's qualifying trim. How fast will the race pace be? How will the speed affect the competition.
Yeah, certainly with the overcast skies we have, a cool racetrack throughout the day, we're going to see speed still around 200 miles per hour. That's average per lap. That puts a lot on these drivers. To make these cars go around at that speed, you've got to be right there on the edge. These things can get away from you quickly, and when they do, it's pretty big after that. They're going to be racing in traffic. The cars are going to drive differently then. So a lot of things going on for these drivers. They have to be on top of their game all day at those speeds.
Yeah, I've talked to some crew chiefs too, and the added speed, we're seeing the cars faster than they've been here before. So they're using a little bit more fuel, and we know how important strategy is. So they're going to have to figure that all in there. And a handful of cars have had aerodynamic flutter. The cars are going so fast, the bodies are shaking on the cars. So it's going to be a really fun race to watch. You can visibly see the speed.
We'll watch the speeds, and we'll watch who gets to the checkered flag first here at Michigan International Speedway, and which manufacturer gets their hands on that trophy.
The Pure Michigan 400 is brought to you by Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org. 5-Hour Energy. Focus is the feeling of clarity and alertness. It's the feeling you get from 5-Hour Energy. And Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side.
Ready to race at Michigan International Speedway in the Pure Michigan 400. Drivers buckled in on their cars down along the pit lane. Trackside, 2 Michigan natives and residents who made us all proud at the Winter Olympic Games in February, gold medalists in ice dancing.
And now, race fans, for the most famous words in motorsports, please welcome your Grand Marshals, 2014 Olympic champion ice dancing team and Michigan natives, Charlie White and Merrill Davis.
Drivers!
Start your engines.
Fired up? Yes, sir. Well, clear. 10-4, you get on everything? You did. Good to go. What I was saying is that line. Hands out of the front.
I guess that command's more of a suggestion. I didn't see anybody starting the motor.
They've got people already. Here we go. Well, we know Greg Biffle started his engine. And, you know, a lot of drivers have a track that's just theirs, where the numbers just are better than they are at any place else. This one's it for Greg Biffle. From his first win here, August 22nd, 2004, to his most recent June 16th of 2013, Greg Biffle's won here 4 times. He's our in-race reporter. We talk to him as he pursues a 5th victory. There's the live scene at Michigan International Speedway. The engines are fired. The cars have yet to roll from the pit lane. About to now as the command comes down from race control. And we get ready for the start of the Pure Michigan 400. 200 laps, 400 miles around this giant, fast 2-mile track. Talked about Greg Biffle on the way to the break and how this is just his track. Look at those numbers. 4 wins, so many top 5s, top 10s, and a win here today would be so huge for Biff. They talked about it on Countdown, trying to find a way to win, to race his way into the chase. Greg lined up in the 11th position on the grid, and he's our ESPN in-race reporter.
Hey, Greg, Dale Jarrett, the ESPN. You with us?
Yeah, I got you, DJ.
All right, Greg. Hey, thanks for talking with us today. We were just showing the fans your outstanding record here at this racetrack. And that leads us right to our mailbag question, which comes from Christy in Dearborn, Michigan. She says, with your success at Michigan, does that give you extra confidence to get a win here today and make the chase?
Yeah, it certainly does. I'll tell you, this has been a great track for us over the years. And quite honestly, we haven't had the speed this year that we wanted, but we came and tested here about 5 weeks ago and really found some speed in our cars. It's going to help us everywhere, and we're really excited about today.
Well, Greg, you kind of led me right to my question here. It's about that speed. That's been the kind of the word of the weekend. Can you explain to our audience exactly where that makes things more difficult for you as a driver, entry to the corner, center of the corner, around traffic?
No, really, DJ, it's around traffic. We saw in practice here, we're entering the corner on the back at 215, 214 and 215. 16 on the front by ourselves. Now we get into the draft, that could be up closer to 220. And, you know, getting down to the corner side by side, it doesn't leave a lot of margin for error. This car gets sliding around a little bit. A lot, happens really fast. You would think that 4 or 5 miles an hour wouldn't make that big of a difference, but it does.
How about our overcast skies today? I know you practiced in some sunshine yesterday. From a driver standpoint, going to make a little difference here to what you can do?
It definitely is, DJ, and I'm hoping for that sun to pop out. Our car was pretty good as the speed slowed down, and it seemed like other guys were struggling a little bit with grip, so we're hoping it warms up later on in this race, which it's supposed to, and the track gets a little rubber on it. I think we're going to, hopefully at that point, come to the front.
All right, great, Greg. Thanks for talking with us. Hey, have a great day out there. We'll look forward to talking to you later on. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Matt Pusha.
Hey, Matt, Andy Petrie in the booth. You have us?
Andy, got you loud and clear.
Matt, I've been really impressed with how bold you've been on some of the strategy calls you've made the last couple of weeks, and it's paid off in solid finishes. You're just inside that cutoff on points. How aggressive and bold are you going to be today to try to get that win and try to solidify your position in the chase?
Yeah, it's getting down to crunch time here. You know, the way this deal works here, you win, you're in, and we've made some aggressive calls the last couple of weeks trying to put us in position to get us a win here. That's what we're going to do the rest right up until the end of this chase here at Richmond. So, I think we got a car today that's capable of going up there and driving up there and lead and winning this thing. Because hopefully it doesn't come down to a fuel mileage deal at the end of this thing. But with my luck, the way Steve has been going here lately, we'll probably get that caution just outside that window. We'll have to make that decision. But I think we got a car that's capable of going up there and winning. To have to play the right strategy today.
Okay, Matt. Yeah, we really appreciate you talking to us, and I think you got a car fast enough to put a little pressure on you on top of that pit box today. Good luck.
Thanks, Andy. Appreciate it.
Matt Pusha, Greg Biffle. We'll hear from them through the course of today's race as our ESPN in-race reporters. We'll watch and ride along with Brad Keslowski thanks to our Ford EcoBoost onboard camera. Kevin Harvick's got the Jimmie Johns on board. And Danica Patrick has our GoDaddy onboard camera. Then there's Clint Boyer. Heard from him earlier. Clint's got our 5-hour energy on board.
Copy there, spotter. Yeah, I got you, brother. Told the driver he's going to have to hope his shoulders feel good because he's going to have to carry us.
Greg Biffle, just saw and heard from him. He's got the Sprint on board in his car today. Kyle Larson's got the Sunoco on board. And Jimmie Johnson's carrying the Chevy on board.
10-4, got you there. What do you think about the pit road entrance? Do you need me to try to get that? No, I got it.
Sorting out who's responsible for what. Chad Knaus and Earl Barb in the spotter. And a final onboard view today. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has our Goodyear onboard camera. Reminder, NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy has enhanced coverage today live at Michigan International Speedway. All the onboard views and more. NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy. Stories from pit road as the field comes around to the 1-to-go signal. Here's Mike Massaro.
You know, Alan, as the regular season winds down, much of the focus will be on those drivers on the bubble. Among them, Clint Bowyer. He's so far winless on the season and finds himself holding on ever so delicately to that final chase position. Yet he knows the reality. He knows in the next 4 races, many things can happen. The good news is, here in Michigan, he rides a streak of 7 consecutive top 10 finishes. But he does realize the only thing that will secure his future in the chase is a victory, something he's never done here in Michigan, but feels like he's got a good shot at doing this afternoon, Doc.
You know, sitting 18th in points with just 4 races remaining, Brian Vickers knows his best chance to get in the chase is to win a race. And his best chance to win a race may be right here today. After all, he's a former winner here at Michigan. But the biggest reason for their optimism is what crew chief Billy Scott told me this morning. He said, you know, Toyota finally has given them a new engine spec with an improved power band. And in a place like this where horsepower is king, that might just be the difference. Jamie Little?
Well, Casey Kane is another one of those drivers who finds himself on the outside looking in. He's the only Hendrick driver without a win this year. He's also the only one not in the chase as of now. He's 12 points back. Now, I talked to his crew chief, Kenny Francis, earlier this morning, and although he's optimistic about the next 3 races, he said their chances today, he's not so optimistic. Said the car was just so tight in all 3 practice sessions. They're hoping that the weather conditions today, Alan, will help the handling of that car.
All right, Jamie, thanks. And now, how do you? Brought to you by KFC. In this case, how do you win Michigan? Get the first lap right. A lot of trouble in the first lap and the first 10 laps in the last recent run of races here since they repaved it. Got to survive that.
Yeah, and you also have to get that last pit stop right. If you want a chance to win this thing, you got to position your guy and your car to be in the right position for that, what I think is going to be a final restart.
We talk about restarts all the time. You've got to be ready here. Rusty showed us that it can go 5 and 6 wide, but you got to be in the right spot and make your move.
And some other stories to button up before we go green. 4 cars dropping to the rear of the field, 3 for driver changes. Trevor Bayne to the back. He was at Mid-Ohio racing yesterday. 83. Today being driven by J.J. Yaley dropping to the back. He's subbing for Ryan Truex, who had a nasty crash here yesterday morning. We wish Ryan well as he gets better and gets back to racing, hopefully next week. And the 78, Matt Crafton, qualified it Friday. Martin Truex came here Saturday after attending to a family medical piece of business back in Charlotte on Friday. Also Landon Castle's car to the back for an engine change, and that is how the field is rearranged as we're ready to go. Up front, Jeff Gordon and Joey Logano bring the field down to the start at Michigan.
First lap of the race, what's a restart later on going to be like?
Yeah, one of the reasons you hold your breath on these starts is because this is the first time these cars have been in this situation at this speed. That air is so disturbed when you have them so close together like that.
Ryan Newman in that black and gold 31 was one that went 3 wide to the outside in the first corners. Made it. As Joey Logano leads, Newman is up to 7th.
That'll open some eyes. Talk about Logano leading. Gordon decided to take the outside as his position to start this race, so see how that affects drivers' decisions later on with restarts.
Because that's not been the preferred line when you're the control car for a restart here lately.
Just on that piece of paper blowing around on the camera lens, that's one thing I've always worried about here. At the start of the race, there's always a lot of wrappers, paper wrappers, and maybe hot dog wrappers that get on the grills of the cars. See a spot, looks like maybe on the front of McMurray's. I don't know if that's a tab or not, but you always worry about that. Bernard looks a little bit unstable.
Yeah, and Kurt Busch, I was going to say, has been strong here all weekend, really. Showed a lot of speed in his car. Wasn't very happy with the drivability of it a few times yesterday in practice, but I know they made some changes. Looks like they went in the right direction, at least for the start of this.
Well, he's complaining in practice, but his car was fast.
Got one on the wall, high in turn 1. Kyle Busch.
10 more, yellow's out.
Caution. Well, I talked about the early trouble here, and it has struck Kyle Busch just 3 laps into the race. Check this out. Since they repaved the track for the start of the 2012 season, first caution in the first 7 laps. And here it is today at lap number 3. Kyle was running 19th at the time.
Looks like this started back off of turn 4. The exit of that, where his car kicked out, the back end kicked out.
It's got some damage from that, obviously. And I think he went down in turn 1 with that, maybe cut the right front down.
Well, we've talked about Jimmie Johnson and their struggles. This is a race team, too, that's had a lot of issues over the last weeks. They had a nice little run there for a while, but certainly the last few haven't been what they've been looking for.
String of second place and third place finishes for Kyle, but then the engine problem at Pocono, the difficulties last week at Watkins Glen that had them back in the garage area and finishing way down, and now here just 3 laps into the race at Michigan. Troubles in back to the garage for Kyle Busch in the 18. Pit road open here. There is a competition caution scheduled to come up at lap number 20.
Yeah, I don't expect to see anybody coming in now because they cannot put fuel in until that competition caution has been called by NASCAR.
That's going to be the most important thing on a pit stop today. Tires will be nice.
Yeah, tires are really not that big of an issue. I talked to a lot of guys. They say the left sides can really go a long, long way, and the right sides are holding up pretty good too.
So no takers. And the pattern continues of early trouble at Michigan. This time it's Kyle Busch who finds the wall. Getting ready for the restart of the Pure Michigan 400. Kyle Busch back in the garage with his car being put up on jack stands. We mentioned the terrible run that they've had here lately. There are the numbers to back it up.
Yeah, when they're not having trouble, you can see how well they're doing. 2 second-place finishes. You see they're feast or famine for that team.
So the team getting a look at what needs to be fixed on that car, and it's probably going to be there for a while.
And this was always one of the tracks that was most difficult for me, that seemed to change overnight more than anywhere else. It didn't even have to be affected by weather. It just seemed like there was a huge change, and your car was always way looser than you anticipated.
And there has been a little effect by weather. Talk about that in a minute. First, pace car's off. Joey Logano, the control car for this restart, choosing the outside lane, as did Jeff Gordon for the initial start. Harvick with a little trouble getting going. Logano holds off Gordon. Here's Harvick recovering from that momentary hesitation on the restart to get by Carl Edwards and pick up third place. Harvick in the 4.
Yeah, Harvick's one of those cars in both practice sessions yesterday that looked just really, really solid as they ran on. Looked like they've got speed, and speed that holds on very well, too. Here's another one that looks pretty fast. 2-car Brad Keslowski.
And 55, Brian Vickers, former winner here. Mentioned him in Countdown. But one to keep an eye on, that about the only way he's going to find a way to make the chase is if he can score a win. This might be his best chance between now and Richmond.
He's certainly been the bright spot so far this weekend for Toyota.
Sliding by Carl Edwards to pick up a spot. Here comes Jamie McMurray. Edwards on a little slide here since the restart. Now, I didn't see any of the front runners come down the pit lane on that caution flag. Did see 3 cars, including Jimmie Johnson's. They started 30th. They pitted. They restarted 41st after just those 3 laps. They changed 4 tires, Andy.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that because they cannot reset on fuel, like I said before, the competition caution. And so they came in. I think they've been fighting a car that's kind of been tight all weekend. How's it now, Mike?
Well, he hasn't complained at all about the handling. They thought, though, that they might have run over some debris. So just to be safe, and considering they weren't at the front at the time, they figured they'd just come down pit road and take 4.
Yeah, he was behind when Kyle Busch got into the wall. Could have been 2 times, whether it was off of 4 or whenever he looked like the tire went down and he got into the wall down in turns 1 and 2. So probably a good call with where they were for sure.
Yeah, especially from what we've seen. They had some tire issues at Pocono. It's kind of their own doing, but they did cut down a couple of tires.
So Jimmie Johnson back in the hunt in 35th place, and again after the precautionary pit stop. Update on what the damage is and the extent of it to Kyle Busch's car from Doc.
Yeah, 215 miles an hour. It's when you hit it, it's not a little hit here. There's a suspension damage, right front, right rear. They're under there trying to do some sheet metal work. I'll show where the rear end is in the right front. Kyle Busch out of the car, by the way, handing the crew guys tools to try to help with the repairs, but they're going to be a while as Kyle's car damaged right front and all the way down the side and right rear.
All right, Doc, thanks. Right side picture, Carl Edwards in the 99 continuing to slide. Started 3rd in this race. Danica Patrick passing Edwards for 13th.
I'd be interested to hear whenever we get something from Carl, something he radioed back. The way he took off on the restart told me that his car was probably pretty tight, that he was able to really go after it and do things. So let's see if he's complaining about the car just being too tight, and that's hurting him on speed and not getting through the corners the way that he needs to.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. there, 88. One of the things that we were wondering about before the start of the race, did he have the car to get to the front from 25th starting spot? He's gained a lot of ground already, gained 10 of them.
Yeah, I was talking to Lotard this morning, and they were talking about how we're going to try to get some of that track position back. This is the way to do it right here. Pass cars. It's 11 spots he's made up.
Actually now 12 as he passes both Danica and Carl Edwards there. Yeah. One moving up, one moving back. Reports on both from Dr. Jerry Punch.
Absolutely. Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, you know, he knew he had a good car, just didn't catch the cloud in qualifying, as the lingo goes. He said, we will move up quickly to about 12th spot. He said, from there on up, it's going to be tough going. He said, I know we can make up those spots early and get to 12th or 13th. After that, he said, there's so many fast cars there, it's going to be hard to go anywhere. Let's go to Mike Massaro.
Doc, at the beginning of the weekend, Carl Edwards was asked what it takes to win here at Michigan. He said everything has to be perfect. Things are not perfect right now. He radioed in just moments ago saying they are wrecking loose, especially in turns 3 and 4 in the center. Says that's where they're losing the most ground.
Yeah, well, obviously I missed that, but that's a worse scenario than being tight. You can sometimes drive around a tight race car, but being wrecking loose, all you can do is slow down and not crash. Hope that you can make some good adjustments on that thing.
That man will figure it out. Jimmy Fennig.
Here's Greg Biffle going by him. Biffle in the 16 talked a lot about the test that Roush Fenway Racing did up here a few weeks back, and that they thought they'd found something that gave them some speed in qualifying. They certainly showed that speed. Now Jimmy Fennig telling me this morning, Edwards crew chief, the question is, does it translate to race trim? That's what we'll find out today.
Now, I did talk to Matt Pusha a little bit this morning about what they learned in that test, and he said the biggest thing they learned was balance. They've been struggling with the balance of their cars and felt like they were going to have a better balance here. Looks like Biffle's car is fairly good, but Carl still looking for a balance.
You know, and one thing about when you come here to test, seldom do you have a lot of cars that you're testing with. You don't get a tremendous amount of rubber. The groove has changed some. You're out in traffic. So many things are different. So how does that scenario change what your car does and react to that? Hopefully they've left themselves some adjustment, because they're going to certainly need that here to fix this loose race car. And why this place, I mentioned it early on, just seems like it makes you loose overnight. I don't know how it does that, but it seems to affect more than it doesn't.
Well, one of the things that happens in practice is that the other guys, other cars, they'll let you practice by yourself a little bit, and you kind of have clean air. You can go out there and make good laps. When that race starts, they're not so courteous. They don't give you that clean air, and I think that's one thing that disturbs the cars and makes it so much different when the race starts.
Heard Greg Biffle say they were hoping to see sunshine. Let's talk about weather conditions and effect on this track and cars as we watch Vickers 55 try to hold off a charging Kurt Busch in the 41. This is for 6th place, and Kurt has moved up from 16th starting spot into that number 7 position. So yesterday during final practice, happened at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Sun was shining, skies were clear and blue. Temperature was about 75, 76 degrees through the course of the practice. Today, completely overcast, 68 degrees. It rained a little bit this morning. While the sun is forecast to come out closer to the finish of the race at 4 o'clock and the temperature warm up about 5 degrees, that overnight change of weather does what normally?
It gives the track more grip, and so what it does is sometimes, and it gives it more speed. So your cars that are hitting the racetrack, say, with their splitter, they're going to hit it harder with more speed, so they're going to have a little more trouble with it. I talked to quite a few crew chiefs this morning. Most of them were hoping for a hot and slick racetrack. It'll rubber up more, the groove will get wider quicker. When it's like it is now with a lot of grip, they're going to be running around the bottom at these tremendously high speeds, and they're still running low 36-second laps. And the fastest speed is Joey Logano so far at 202.6. That's the kind of speeds they're racing at.
Now here is Logano completing the 20th lap, and usually what happens with these competition cautions, NASCAR lets most of the field complete that mark and then throws out the yellow flag. It's a timing and scoring thing. They just that's how they've always done it. And so as Logano works that 21st lap, at some point in here, you expect to see the yellow flag come out right now.
Yeah.
And there's your competition caution.
Competition yellow.
All right, first chance for crews to get their hands on the race car, but having only run 20 laps, they're not going to be there for long. Drivers right now giving feedback back to pit road.
3 down, get into 3 a little bit. Can't do the big arc anymore, 240 water. Turn in the middle and exit good. It's just a little bit still tight into the entry when I get out of the throttle.
Traffic just before the yellow from the top 2 back to their pits. Now, having just run the 20 laps, here we are again with how much fuel you take on, or how many tires you change is determined by how much fuel you need to take on.
Yeah, the priority here is fuel. They're going to top off, talk to most crew chiefs. They're going to get 2 tires, mostly right sides. Like I said, the left sides are holding up real well. We're going to see that out of most of the leaders. And you might see some of the guys at the back, even like Jimmie Johnson and those guys maybe take 4 tires because you're not going to be able to leapfrog anybody on getting 2 right now.
And I wonder if the 48 will make an adjustment because we documented he restarted in 41st. He only moved up to 34th. He only passed 7 cars at the back of the field. So I can't believe that he's very happy with his race car.
Also heard down in the garage this morning, we might see some people just plain stay out here.
Yeah, you might see that. And as I heard, a couple of people did say that. I'm trying to figure in my head how that's going to work for their strategy. I'm not sure that's the right move. I think coming in right now, getting 2 tires and fuel, topping off of fuel, is the right play.
Looking at some of the people responsible for those decisions.
You know, the thinking on staying out will be some of the cars that are at the back just trying to leapfrog on strategy, hoping that cautions will fall their way.
Here they come. Ryan Newman stays out. That was from 10th place. Jamie?
And they all make their way down. Kevin Harvick pulling into his pit box. 1 can of fuel is the call. Car has been so good, they didn't even adjust on it in final practice. Meanwhile, Brad Keslowski in the 2 car. They're talking about if they should be aggressive or not, saying he's a little free in the center. Joey Logano pretty happy with his car. It's a tick tight in 1 and 2. And Jeff Gordon, little tight as you heard on the radio there. All the cars are out, and the battle down pit road after the first round of pit stops is on. And Brad Keslowski just edges them out. No tires. They did go aggressive, Alan.
Our Pennzoil race off pit road. Was a little trouble on the pit lane. It involved Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Kyle Larson. We'll show you that and have the restart in a minute. Ready for the restart. There's the damage to Kyle Larson's left front after the contact on the pit lane between his machine and Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s. This is Larson's view.
Go, go, go. One lane, all the way up, 1 red, 1 red.
See it a lot whenever we get that many cars on pit road and different strategies.
Front 2 did not pit. Ryan Newman and Jimmie Johnson. They lead the field to the restart.
That answers the question about the 48 not trying to move up. He was probably just saving his tires, knowing he wasn't going to the pit. Oh, trouble, Danica.
Justin Allgaier, Michael Annette, Trevor Bain, and more.
Keep on rolling if you can.
How many times have we used the word restarts in the last few weeks and how intense they are, and coming in here talking about as intense as they've been at other places, couldn't imagine what they'd be like here?
Yep. And you have so many things going on with it, with cars all around. We talked about fanning out and the speed that you get up to in a hurry, and just this was the one thing that the drivers told me that they were concerned about, was just the kind of the lack of grip that you get and the loose feeling that you get from the cars on these restarts.
A couple of flat tires from Matt Kenseth. Those we can see on this side of the car anyway.
Looks like you might have some on the other side too. Yeah, you can see right here Danica is in the middle of the 3 wide situation.
So got into 14 of Jeff Burton just a little bit there. Turned the wheel to stay off of that.
Yeah, the problem is you need just a little bit of room to save that, and didn't have it.
Clear low after 47, clear low, still outside, inside. Hold the brake.
You could see from that she was chasing her car even before that.
Goes back to what Rusty showed us toward the end of countdown with the air and so on when you get in these side-by-side situations in these corners.
See, Kenseth, he got hit from behind. He's got some damage on the right side of that car, too.
Now watch your mirror, backing out, go low. They're going to stay low. One inside, just stop, scan, come on low. One inside down there, come on down low. Come on, keep coming now, it's clear, bottom there.
Wow, Junior did a great job of not getting some damage there.
Well, a little ugly moment on the restart from the competition caution. Combine that with the ugly moment on pit road, and there's a lot of damaged race cars all of a sudden here at Michigan. A lot of bits and pieces to pick up after a multi-car wreck on a restart between turns 1 and 2 has put us under caution already for the third time in the Pure Michigan 400 with Jimmie Johnson now the race leader. He was ahead of Ryan Newman when the yellow waved. Reminder that the Motorsports Weekend not finished on the ESPN networks with the checkered flag in this one. Tonight you can see the final eliminations in the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals from up in Brainerd, Minnesota. That's on ESPN2 at 9 Eastern Time. And next weekend, they'll probably tear up a fender or two as well in Thunder Valley at Bristol Motor Speedway. The Nationwide Series, Friday night, 7 Eastern on ESPN, and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series night race at Bristol with our telecast presented by AutoZone. Note that one's on ABC. Next Saturday at 7 Eastern Time from Bristol. So a little bit of an extension to this caution with all the debris to be cleaned up gives us a minute to check in early with our ESPN in-race reporter Greg Biffle, who's running right where he started, in 11th spot.
Hey, Greg, Dale Jarrett, you good to talk?
Yeah, I got you.
All right. Hey, I said we were going to talk to you later in the race. Didn't expect it to be quite this soon, but my gosh, a lot of action. Tell us about your car first.
Well, we started out really free on this green racetrack. It rained overnight, and of course that's what the 20-lap competition caution was, is to take a look at the tires. But we were super loose. Right to until about 15 laps in, my car really started driving good and started picking guys off. So track's got some rubber on it. It's come around. I think we're going to be okay now, but certainly in dirty air on these restarts with new tires, it's a challenge, and that's probably what happened there. Somebody, just got out from under them and chain reaction. I'm not sure what happened.
Greg, once again, you kind of led me to my next question. As a driver, you look here, we are still in the 28-lap range. With the restarts being as crazy as they are, what do you have to look forward to later whenever they really do mean something?
Well, I'm hoping, DJ, when we look forward to them later, we're near the front. But, they are. It is tough, because everybody's trying to get a position on the restart. We're all bunched up, and it's easy to get beside a guy. So, but you're in the most dirty air you can be in with all the cars bunched up. So you got to be careful and hopefully get the gas down to get a good corner and a good run off.
Okay, buddy. Good luck getting that thing to the front. Thanks for talking.
You guys.
Greg and the other drivers will see the 1-to-go signal as they come to the start-finish line here, which will set us a lap away from another restart. Had a couple of them already in this race. 4-car, the focus in this one. Had a little bit of trouble getting going.
And that was because Joey Logano kind of played a little game there as the leader and let the 24 get back up there where he could take off, and that slowed Harvick down.
And then this most recent one that ended up in a big pileup in between turns 1 and 2. Look at them all involved there. And the more formal list of those involved in crash shown here. Comings and goings back and forth to and from the garage. Updated in a moment. First, Matt Kenseth, one of those back in the garage. Mike?
Yeah, and lots of damage all the way around the 20 car, lots of body damage, but their biggest concern is the suspension damage they think they sustained on the right front. We saw one of the mechanics working with a control arm. It looked like they were replacing there. Obviously extensive damage. The last thing Matt Kenseth wanted to see happen. He's one of the guys without a win right now as we conclude this regular season 4 races ago. He looked like he was good on points before this incident happened, but I talked with his crew chief, Jason Ratcliffe, this weekend. He said they didn't feel comfortable at all, and this doesn't make anything better.
All right, Mike, so Kenseth back in the garage along with Justin Allgaier and Trevor Bain's car back in the garage. Kyle Busch has just returned to the racetrack 25 laps down. Check out NASCAR.com/. Here's Matt Kenseth, one of the drivers. Pretty safe in points to make the chase, but still not a fun thing for him to be back in the garage losing points.
Last few weeks have hurt that, and it's certainly so far been a day for JGR to forget about.
And I mentioned NASCAR.com/RaceBuddy is where you can find enhanced coverage today from Michigan International Speedway. Jimmie Johnson, the leader on the restart. Jeff Gordon this time, the one without a great restart.
Imagine you see someone like a Gordon be a little more cautious here at the beginning, seeing all of these things happen. He understands that there's a lot of racing to happen here yet today.
For the lead, Joey Logano trying to get it back from Jimmie Johnson.
See just how much better that 48 handles with that clean air on the front of it. Joey Logano trying to take a little air off the rear of it.
Yeah, seeing if he can get there and loosen that 48 up just a little bit on the exit of the corner. Didn't work in that off of turn 2. Larson handled that well.
This is back to that thought we had on how fast they're going and the speeds and so on. We saw this in our coverage of practice yesterday when Greg Biffle was behind a slower car and could draft right up to him on the straightaway, but it took him 3 laps to find a way to get around him.
Now, if you look at these lap times, Jimmie Johnson's running a second or more faster than he was running when he was back in the pack. It's like a completely different race car out front.
It'll be interesting to see how long. I tell you, if he's able to hold on, and that could be inside the top 10, we have to look back and say that was a brilliant strategy move by Chad Knaus and Jimmie Johnson to come in early, get their tires, and then stay out during that competition yellow.
209, 210, 211, 213, 214 into turn 1.
I tell you, Logano's giving it all he has. He's trying to get just right to the bumper, and Johnson's doing a great job holding him off.
The car must really be solid for Jimmie because that has to be affecting the back of Jimmie's car. But he's able to withstand all of that. Joey continues to get closer and closer on the end of that corner. You see Joey wiggle a little bit right there. But see, that allowed Jimmie to gap him just a little bit, so he won't have to worry about him as he get down to turn 1 being right on his bumper.
Fun little 3-way race here. 6th, 7th, and 8th places. Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch, and Jamie McMurray.
Jamie McMurray, another one of those that would like to somehow find his way to victory lane and get his spot in the chase. Ran really well here the first race. Ended up just outside the top 10 with his finish, but ran well throughout the day.
Somehow I don't think they'll be trading the sheet metal here at Michigan. They were in the closing laps at Watkins Glen last week. A.J. Allmendinger 47, Marcus Ambrose 9.
Yeah, they could try as hard as they wanted to put on the show better than what they did last week, and they'd come up short. That was amazing driving by these 2 drivers.
Spectacular race. Jimmie Johnson and Ryan Newman by not pitting under the competition caution. Johnson did stop at lap 5, but Newman hasn't been on pit road at all in this race. So as you watch that lap counter up there top of the screen.
But neither one of them put fuel in, so they are going to have to pit for fuel here in just a few laps.
That is where I was going.
And the other cars need to get to about lap 52 to get inside one of their windows.
Trouble. Debris in turn 2.
Debris in turn 2.
Might have come off one of the cars that had been repaired, the crash damage. There it is, a piece of it anyway. Back to that speed theme when you're taping together and patching together things and you're out there running 210 miles an hour into the corner.
Yeah, you can't be running over anything for sure. And yeah, I mean, we had things flying off of cars that hadn't been damaged here over the week. So
yeah.
All right, Andy, for the 48 and the 31, is that caution a good thing? Bad.
Well, they're going to have to pit. And, I just don't see it being a good thing. With their strategy looks good while they're out front. They're going to have to make a stop that all of them will have to make about 5 pit stops in this race, and they have to make. Some of the teams have already made one. They're going to have to make one here.
In their perfect world, they would have all made another green flag.
Another green flag stop, yeah.
Or a green flag stop. They haven't made one yet. Seldom is there a perfect world.
Yeah. So Jimmie Johnson out in front in a Chevrolet. Visit Chevy.com to learn more about the all-new Chevy Silverado, the 2014 North American Truck of the Year.
About lap 50 or 52 is where we'll see the next window open for the cars that pitted at the competition caution.
And Andy, I know I've had people ask me this before. A guy that's leading and knows he's coming to pit road now, and still he's shutting off the car and saving fuel.
Right now, he might be just hoping it'll keep running until he does make his pit stop. But in any way you look at it, saving fuel helps because it takes a little less time to put gas in when you're in the pits. So sometimes extending your range to be able to maybe make one less pit stop. There's always an advantage to saving fuel.
Johnson and Newman in. Most others stay out. Mike?
And Chad Canals a little bit upset with the way that all played out. Not everyone came down pit road. Initially, the call was for 2 tires. But when he saw what happened, he changed it to 4 tires. Jimmie saying the car's just a little bit snug in 1 and 2, but good off. Jamie?
And Luke Lambert telling Ryan Newman, this puts us in our window. First stop for him today, the 31. They make that track bar adjustment there. They'll fill them up with Sunoco fuel, put 4 tires on it here, and take full advantage of this caution that was in their favor, Alan.
All right, Jamie. So a split decision on the pit stops here. Joey Logano cycles back to the lead, and another restart coming up from Michigan. Coming to the restart in the Pure Michigan 400, as we will complete 80 miles of those 400 here at Michigan. Pace car off, Joey Logano, yellow and red 22, outside lane is the control car for the restart. Jimmie Johnson, first off the pit lane, 21st position. just holding my breath, waiting to holler trouble.
I didn't know where to look. You can see trouble brewing just about anywhere you look.
Yeah.
Now, Harvick was a little slow on that restart getting going again, but it affected Brad Keselowski probably more than it did Harvick.
Wow, look at both those cars dancing around.
Yeah, I watched Kurt Busch car wiggle pretty good, but he didn't back out of the throttle at all, didn't look like. Allmendinger, 47. He's going on the momentum he had from last week.
That's 8th place right there.
Yeah, man.
And looking for 7th.
Going for it. I think he's going to have it in time they get to the bus stop. Oh, wait a minute. That was last week.
I think you have to certainly talk about, we saw Richard Childress last week in Victory Lane, that the alliance that this team has with RCR. A lot of their cars coming from there and engines and things they've been able to learn. Certainly stepped up the performance of this race team, and AJ doing a good job behind the wheel and giving them the information to make this a very viable team now in the Cup Series.
Just a lot of fun seeing the emotion and understanding where Allmendinger's been in the last couple of years and the joy at winning. Really great to see.
You know, we talk all the time and hear it all the time that you can't give up, and you know, it might be a little cliche, but you really can't. You know, even when things get you knocked back down, just stay after it, and it'll serve you well.
There's 3rd place changing hands. Kevin Harvick back around Jamie McMurray after the little hesitation on the restart that allowed McMurray by. Now 4th, make that 5th and 6th places. Brad Keselowski and the White Deuce trying to get a spot back from Greg Biffle.
Yeah, Brad lost about a good 3-4 spots whenever Harvick wasn't able to get going. It affected Brad because he was down right behind Kevin, and with him not being able to go, he couldn't get his car up to speed, and some drivers went by him on the outside, but showing how fast his Ford is right now going back by some of those.
Yeah, and he hasn't changed tires yet today, so he's on the tires he started the race on. Jimmie Johnson making some headway to the front now.
Mentioned he gave up the lead and restarted in 21st position. That's Jimmie running right behind Dale Earnhardt Jr. now up to 13th. Here's 14th and 15th. Denny Hamlin and Clint Boyer 11 and 15.
Here's an 11 car that we used to see before the repave. I'll put that in there, I believe. In my mind, and looking at things, that Denny Hamlin this team was really strong here. And you can say that about Pocono too. Whenever, you know, the older surface, Denny Hamlin was excellent. Just his car control and the things he's able to do. Not the success since the repave. They're working hard at it, but just haven't had that. Good thing for them is once they do have a win at Talladega and they get in the chase, they've got mostly tracks that haven't been repaved to deal with, and that'll be a benefit for them.
There's the highest running Toyota in the field, Brian Vickers in the 55. He's running in 10th place now, just behind Paul Menard, 27, and Casey Kane, 5. A trio right there that stand for everything that win and get in means. Need to find a way to win in these next 4 weeks, including today. Might get in on points, but might not.
I talked to Kenny Francis this morning. You can see there's a lot of pressure on those crew chiefs on that bubble spot, trying to, you know, get the points. Don't give away any points, but then having to try to get that win. This new setup has been great for the fans, great for us, but it's a lot of pressure on the crew chiefs, especially for the bubble guys.
Yeah, and the drivers are feeling it too right now. And back to Casey in 11th, you've got 5 drivers in those first 11 spots that are looking for that victory to secure that place in the chase.
Getting closer up front. Joey Logano had gotten away from Jeff Gordon early in the run, but here comes the 24, reeling him back in a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit quicker on lap time. Jeff Gordon was the fastest last lap. Still extremely fast. These cars are not falling off on speed at all.
Last lap by for Joey Logano and Jeff Gordon was just a tick under 200 miles an hour average around this 2-mile track. So Jimmie Johnson, saw him a minute ago trying to work his way back up through after the pit stop. He's in 13th place, but that may not be the main story on this 48 car at the moment. Mike?
Well, they've got another obstacle they'll need to overcome if they're to go to victory lane today, and that's inside the cockpit of that race car, and I'm sure DJ can relate to this. Jimmie just radioed in saying his gear shifter has broken. He's asked for a pair of vice grips that he might be given in the next pit stop that'll attach to it so that he can find a gear every once in a while, but obviously not a good situation for Jimmie.
Unfortunately, I can't identify with that. I've had to do it and ask that, and that is a very difficult thing. We talk about how important restarts are and going to be at the end of this day. Very difficult, but so many things that we're just seeing happen to this 48 team that we aren't accustomed to seeing.
So one more thing to keep track of for Jimmie Johnson. I'll bet he's glad he's not on a road course this week. There are your top two. Jeff Gordon chasing Joey Logano, trying to win another one at Michigan for Roger Penske in Roger's hometown. Just past the 1/4 mark of the Pure Michigan 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Michigan International Speedway. There's the race for the lead. Joey Logano 22, Jeff Gordon 24. Gordon closes in, but can't find a way around yet.
Yeah, he looks like he's being pretty patient to me, Dale. I've watched out. His car seems to be a little bit better than Joey's, and he's not like overdriving it getting in the corner, not trying to force the issue, but he's taking it just a little at a time. Looks like he might have something here, though.
J.J. Yaley subbing for Ryan Truex in the 83, trying to find a line to hold to be out of their way.
Okay, now comes the difficult part. He wasn't able to clear him as he got down to turn one. Going in there side by side is tough. And you're right, that is patience showing off. That's experience from Jeff Gordon, understanding that I do have a faster race car, and there'll come a time that I need to push the issue maybe with this, but right now it's not that time.
He kind of showed Joey right there that he has a little bit better car. He shows him that fender a few times. Joey might let him have it.
Yeah, the one thing that may make him think about trying to go a little bit harder is the way that they're pitted with the pit selections. That with Jeff being right in front, if they happen to come in on the same lap, which they'll probably try not to do if the 22 continues to lead.
Kurt Busch, Greg Biffle, 41-16. 6th place, changing hands there. Jimmie Johnson around Brian Vickers, right side of the screen. The 48 car up to 12th place. And remember, on a different pit stop schedule than just about everybody. In fact, then on everyone in front of him on the track. Another try for the lead for Jeff Gordon. This time he's got it.
And you know, with both of these cars, if they do happen to pit, it's going to be beneficial for both of them to, especially if they try to do it on the same lap, for this to be the sequence that they go into the pits and come out. Because if it would have changed the other way, even with Gordon having to go around in front, then Logano would have had to deal with him, because if I know how drivers think, he would have stopped a little short and made him turn hard right to get out of his pits.
Yeah, I think they've actually missed an opportunity here, the leaders especially, these two cars, to make a pit stop. They're inside, my calculations, their window of being able to pit from like 52 on. Now they could have been able to pit and not added a pit stop to their sequence. They can actually get into the pits and out and not lose a lap. The leaders can, at least, because what I'm hearing is it takes about 34, maybe 35 seconds of off-track time to make a 4-tire stop. With the lap times being in that 36, 37 second range, the leaders at least could make that stop and not lose a lap.
Gordon, Logano, and these other front runners pitted at lap 22 under the competition caution, have not been on the pit lane since. Fuel range here at Michigan, if you're going to run it out to the end of it, is going to be around 40 laps.
Yeah, I talked to some guys can go 40, some can go just short of that. Looks like Brad Keslowski's on pit road.
From 5th place, the Michigan native looking for a win at his home track, Jamie.
And Brad Keselowski said this morning if he won today, it would be the biggest win of his career, understandably so. Remember, this is the first time Brad Keselowski is taking tires. They opted for fuel only last night. Last time, saying the car right now is pretty good, handling, balance okay. They worked on it a tad last stop. They tightened them up just a bit. 4-tire stop, filled them up with Sunoco fuel. Good stop.
Last week's winner, A.J. Allmendinger, on pit road, saying the car's been a little bit tight. They're going to go with a 4-tire change, a full load of Sunoco race fuel as well, and a slight air pressure adjustment. He's away.
Saw our crew cam there being carried by Chuck Efaw, the rear tire changer for the 47.
Andy, I saw the gas man on that 2 car. He was on there to the very, very last second. It's almost hard to fuel it up in 12.8 seconds, completely isn't it?
It is hard to get a full load of fuel.
Back to Mike.
And Paul Menard on pit road for his service. Right now, team going to work on the right side, swinging around to the left side. A 4-tire change on the 27. Sunoco race fuel there. Menard saying the car has been a little bit loose, so they'll try to correct that with air pressure.
And now the leader's going to drag a bunch of them onto the pit lane here. Gordon, Logano, Harvick, McMurray, Biffle, Kurt Busch, and more. 55-mile-an-hour pit road speed limit today. And as Dale Jr. goes into the race lead, we watch these stops. Jamie?
Jeff Gordon all the way down into the #1 pit box, saying he's a little tight getting in still. That's what he's had all day so far. They're going to pull a spring rubber in the left rear, a 4-tire stop. They'll fill him up. You see Kevin Harvick on the left side of your screen working on the left side of his car. The 22 in as well. Right behind the 24, and they battle out the 22. 4 tires, and they went down on wedge.
Casey Kane coming at you. Marco Sambro's there, right of the screen pitting. Clint Boyer also on and off the pit lane on that very busy lap. So a change of track position there. Look at how Logano got out ahead of Gordon.
Boy, big time. Jeff lost a lot coming in that allowed the 22 and the 4 to actually catch up to him. He had a pretty big lead, but Logano way out in front on the exit.
Four-tire change for Brian Vickers. Probably the only 4-tire change you'll see on most of these cars today. 2 cans of fuel chassis adjustment, a little tight, center off. Now, Denny Hamlin said, by the way, he has got a rocket in the corners. Hamlin very happy with the car they've given him today, the 11 car, making a tire change, 4 tires as well.
So of the people on the pit cycle with Gordon and Logano and so on, the only one who hasn't stopped yet is Dale Earnhardt Jr. And remember, he made repeated pit stops after the damage that he took in the incident on pit road back at lap 22 with Kyle Larson. So Jr. has a few extra laps to run before he'll be at the end of his range in this 88 car. When Junior cycles to the pit road, that'll bring things back around to Jimmie Johnson, who was on that alternate schedule that he established pretty early on. That extended caution we had for the debris cleanup after the big crash. Remember, Junior and Larson had their pit contact at lap 22. Then we had on the restart, had that
this time, 4 tires.
6-car pile up, and the extended caution for debris allowed that team to make repeated pit stops in the 88 car. In fact, they were in 1, 2, 3, 4 times already in this race, and do some work on that car to try and fix some of the damage.
Yeah, they got hit in the right front wheel pretty hard, so I'm pretty sure that it had the toe end affected there, and they were trying to get that to where it felt good for Dale Jr. Expect to see him coming down pit road this time.
Check that. This will be his 4th pit stop of the race.
Junior thinks the right front is tilt-toed in a little bit. That means that the right front tire tilted inward in the front. They don't have time to work on that now. This will be a 4-tire change. Again, they only make 1 4-tire change all day. The rest of the stops will be right side tires. Trying to get it completely full of Sunoco fuel. No adjustment, left rear tire, and he's away in less than 15 seconds.
So that puts Jimmie Johnson back into the race lead. 12 cars on the alternate pit stop schedule that the 48 is on now cycle up to the first 12 positions. Jeff Gordon trying to make up the 1.6 seconds he lost to Joey Logano on that green flag pit stop. Now beginning to track that 22 down, but they're racing for 13th and 14th. The Pure Michigan 400 being led by the June winner here, Jimmie Johnson. Up the road from downtown Detroit is the Michigan International Speedway, about 70 miles to the southwest up US Highway 12, where the Pure Michigan 400 is running today. A little bit of a rock'em sock'em start has caught up a lot of fan favorites in the early going. And now we're finally into an extended long green flag run as we race in the shadow of Motor City. When we're done here at Michigan today, you can see the finals of the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals tonight at 9 Eastern over on ESPN2. And from here, we'll move on to Tennessee for next weekend's action at Bristol Motor Speedway. And Nationwide Series race Friday night at 7 Eastern on ESPN. And the night race at Bristol. Our telecast presented by AutoZone next Saturday, 7 Eastern on ABC. Always fun in Thunder Valley.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Jimmie Johnson getting ready to pit, and remember, he's got some problems with the shifter inside that car.
Did a great job, Jimmy. Great job. Keep after it. We're going to pit on you. When we pit, it's going to be four tires. We're going to push you off, remember? We're just going to push you off. You're going to have to watch your pit road speed yourself.
Nothing to grab for to shift gears there. This could be interesting, Mike.
Now take a close look at the vice grips being handed through the window to Jimmie Johnson. They're going to try to help him try to find a gear. As you heard Chacanow say, they're going to push him off pit road. A 4-tire change here. Sunoco Race Fuel as the team now completes their stop and pushes the 48 down pit road, trying to get it fired. Still very slow as he creeps down pit road.
And the crew only allowed to push him so far. This is tricky.
2600.
Yeah, and they figured out what that speed in high gear needs to be for pit road speed, because he wouldn't have any idea before. Thankfully, they're able to calculate that for him. See him trying desperately to get those vice grips on there.
It's almost the point of having to give up on it here. He's pulling out on the racetrack.
Not an easy task.
Here's we're going into one.
Really need to be doing that under caution.
Now what do I do with these things?
Put them back in the toolbox, I guess.
Wow.
He's going 210 miles an hour in the corner while he's working on the shifter or looking at the problem.
It's amazing. That's a change for second place now. Kevin Harvick by Joey Logano, because the new leader as the cycle of pit stops runs through is Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, looks like this 22 is not quite as good on the racetrack after that lightning fast pit stop that they did.
There's Gordon. Got around Logano during the other green flag pit stops that we were watching, and now has gotten away as Logano slips back.
Well, how about this team, this 24 team? Got themselves certainly championship ready right now.
I'll tell you, they're so solid, and they've been that way for the past, 6 to 8 weeks, really all year, but I mean, just on top of everything. It's not the fastest car every week. I don't know that I've ever seen Jeff Gordon and his team be in better form.
Had an opposing crew chief whose car was parked very near the 24 in the garage. Tells you something about where they might be in the standings. Say to me this morning, usual thing you do in the garage, you look at your lap tracker data, who you're racing, who do you think, and talking strategy and so on. And his crew chief's head nodded over at the 24 car, and he said, that's who we're racing today. And he said, to have the momentum that they've got right now, he said, momentum and confidence, you can just see it in that race team. Trouble for Jeff Burton. Doc?
Yeah, Jeff came in for his pit stop about 6 laps ago and said he smelled something burning inside the car. He left pit road and I got to come back in. They said there's an electrical smell in the car. They jacked the left side of the car up to pull the battery out, saw something up there in the battery compartment, and now they said, just go to the garage. We've got to figure this out. So they're going to back him up. Brand new race car, never been raced, and they have an electrical issue. They're going to head to the garage and try to get it fixed.
Well, let's talk about Jeff Gordon. He had an electrical problem last week at Watkins Glen. Had a hard time figuring out what it was. Took him a while.
Battery shorted out. And they flipped over to the backup battery, and the backup shorted out right away. So they tracked down the cause of that and have made some systemic changes to keep it from happening again.
It certainly was showing two teams on different ends of the spectrum right there, the 24 and the 14 right now.
Jeff Burton subbing for Tony Stewart in that 14 behind the wall in the garage. Jeff Gordon out in front here in Michigan, seeking another victory this season.
The Pure Michigan 400 is brought to you by Pennzoil Platinum Full Synthetic Motor Oils with Pure Plus technology. Motor oil reimagined. Toyota, let's go places. Victory Motorcycles. Ride one and you'll own one. VictoryMotorcycles.com. And When the Game Stands Tall, in theaters August 22nd.
175 miles into the Pure Michigan 400 today here at Michigan International Speedway. Tigers played at home last night. I used that as a segue to talk about Sunday Night Baseball tonight. And a great matchup down in Atlanta. The A's new ace, John Lester, takes the hill against Freddie Freeman and the Braves. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell, Oakland and Atlanta at 8 Eastern on ESPN and live on Watch ESPN. Yes, as a Red Sox fan, it pains me to say the A's ace, John Lester.
I was going to leave that alone until you see if you said so.
The Braves need to get going too.
I could tell by the look on your face, so I thought I'd get to it first. Jeff Gordon putting Eric Almirola a lap down.
Trying to. He's been working on him for a few laps now.
43 car involved in that big multi-car accident back at lap 24. And they had to make some repairs to the front end of that machine. So Almirola now the first car one lap down in 19th place. Back into the garage to Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Jeff Burton has climbed out of the 14 car. Jeff, I heard you say on the radio you smelled something burning inside the car. What do you think it is?
I don't know, man. It was I first smelled it, didn't see anything. Then all of a sudden we started smoking really bad, and we pitted. They could see all the smoke coming out of it. So I never saw any fire or anything, but something's on fire. But it's a real shame. I'm terrible in traffic. I don't know how to drive in traffic. But once we got in clear racetrack there and we made an adjustment, we were maybe a 10th off the leader. I thought our speed was really good. I just not being in the groove early in the race, I wasn't very good in traffic. But it's a hard week for everybody. Not the way we wanted it to end, but really proud of everybody's effort here. Picking up and getting going after last week, and everybody gave 100%.
That's Jeff Burton. By the way, they're just telling me now that it may have been a wiring harness or some wiring inside the car under the dash that had a fire issue. So that may be the issue with the 14.
Now, team car at Stewart Haas Racing. Kevin Harvick living up to the logo on the side of that car because he's tracking down the race leader, Jeff Gordon.
It's a hammer down driving good. It's just not fast. Yeah, for about.
Unfortunately, there's
ever going to come out? No, sir.
not an adjustment for that. That sounds like the car's driving good.
And that not fast might be relative.
It looked pretty
Maybe
fast.
one guy there.
Yeah. It's running second.
Yes.
And tracking down the race leader. Casey Kane, A.J. Allmendinger for 9th place here, 5 and 47.
Well, what a nice week to come back for this 47 car. And, just shows you what some good things happening for a team and a driver. Just that momentum's a powerful thing in this sport.
Confidence, momentum. And, of course, the long, slow culmination of a building effort beginning to come together. Here's Austin Dillon in the 3, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17, 15th and 16th place.
Yeah, Austin got a little behind in the beginning of the race, and I watched some lap times in this segment. He's been as fast as the leaders a lot of laps. I think his car is a lot better than it was early.
Yeah, ran really well here back in June. I felt like that this might this track and strategy may lend itself to them maybe getting that victory they're looking for.
Yeah, I talked to Austin this morning, and he talked about he hoped the track would get slicker and the sun would come out. So that part hasn't really played into their hands. It still might before the day's over, but I haven't seen a break in the clouds yet.
And they keep pushing back the forecast time for the clouds to break till later on tonight now, so not sure we're going to see it before the end of the race.
Yeah, if that would happen, it would show we'd hear a lot of drivers pushing that button to talk to their crew chiefs.
So there's Jeff Gordon running first. Kevin Harvick second. Joey Logano third, yellow and red. Jamie McMurray there coming through. Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski, Greg Biffle. And then Dale Earnhardt Jr., who's up to 8th place.
I got a tire coming apart on the right front. There's only 18 cars in the lead lap, and we got a big van. If you want to just cruise a little bit and check it out, that's fine too. I'll support whatever you think. You just use your best judgment. We'll support you either way. If you need to come, we're in here.
That might be the hardest decision to put in a driver's hands. Is how bad is it, and do I need to pit?
Well, in their situation, there's no reason to be taking any chances with your driver here. I mean, we talk about the speed, and you're talking about a right front tire, and it's not going to, unless it happens down the straightaway for them, it's not going to be a good situation. If he has any inkling that right front tire is getting worse, then he's got to come to pit ready.
3 wins already this year. Lock in the chase. In great form where performance is concerned as they head toward the championship stretch, and at one of the fastest tracks on the circuit. Oh, car hard in the wall.
Stop the car.
Turn 3, Kyle Larson.
Relax, you're on fire. Get out when you can. It's out, bud. It's out. Take your time. Take your time. It's out.
Now watching Larson here, in light of what the rule change was that was announced Friday, this is obviously one of those opportunities. Driver needs to get out of the race car.
Well, after being involved in the pit road incident earlier back at lap 22 and suffering that left front corner damage to the car, now the right side of that 42 terribly damaged and still burning. You see Larson out of the car talking to the safety workers. But what happened up there in turns 3 and 4?
Certainly has the makings that the right front tire went down.
Yeah, you can see the hood buckle up and loose.
Hold it up there. Hold it up there. Stop the car here, bud. You're on fire. Stop the car. Stop the car.
I'm sure that's just got to hurt, Dale.
Yes.
The speeds they're running right now.
Yeah, obviously the safer barriers have dissipated a lot of that impact, but it's still over 200 miles an hour. I mean, he still probably was going at least 180 by the time that he got to the wall there.
Watch that hood. You'll see.
Right there it goes. Yep. Terrible feeling as a driver. Nothing you can do. The brakes won't do enough. You can't steer the car. All you can do is hold on or let go of the steering wheel almost, where you don't make this any worse situation.
Wow, big mess.
Yeah, one thing that happened here is that Joey Logano in the 22 and Jamie McMurray in the 1, they got on pit road before the caution came out. They completed their pit stop.
Jimmie Johnson in. Remember, they have that shifter handle problem. Moving the right side window, and in they go.
Going to try to put a new handle on it, it looks like, maybe. If that's possible.
Yeah, it depends on if it broke off or maybe the bolts came loose.
And the crew members doing that while the car's being jacked up and changed tires. And wow, that's something.
See the new shift handle going in right there, like maybe they'll put it back on.
Find me a hose clamp that'll go around something 2 inches
He's
diameter.
got the vice grips, yeah. Just going to get something
that now.
Shift with.
Mr. H watching one of his cars lead the race and one of his cars have some troubles.
Get that window tight, let's go.
You can see there, they got those vice grips on there. That's not the perfect scenario, but much better than what they had.
And we're only just coming up to halfway in the race, so a lot of time to try and make up the one lap that they're down. When we were watching Jimmy coming off the pit lane with that car in fourth gear,
At this time.
trying to find a way to get those vice grips on there and so on. You mentioned you've been through that before. Well, let's wait for just a second here. These are green caution flag pit stops here. Lead lap cars coming in, and we start with Doc.
Kurt Busch saying that I'm tied in loose off, that they were going to make a call to go ahead and put 4 tires on it once again, and an air pressure change, getting completely full of Sunoco fuel. Jamie.
Kevin Harvick saying the car just won't go anywhere. Needs a little more speed, but feels pretty good. Right side tires. Oh, they just made an audible 4 tires. Brad Keslowski saying he lacks stability in 3. Needs to help that out. 4 tire stop. Jeff Gordon in the 24. 4 tires and fuel is the call. He, of course, has been happy with the car. He's led about the last 27 laps to be exact. Alan?
Little right sides only for Steve Letarte and Dale Jr. under this caution flag. And caution out because of this hard crash. Kyle Larson.
just past halfway at Michigan International Speedway for the Pure Michigan 400. Right now it is Ryan Newman out front. But we are under caution for the 5th time today after Kyle Larson took a big hit just a few laps ago. Inside the Quicken Loans ESPN Pit Studio, I'm Nicole with Rusty and Brad, touching on a few of the themes we talked about earlier during NASCAR Countdown. Jeff Gordon being one of them. He's pretty much been the class of the field today, which is what we expected.
Yeah, we really did. I mean, it feels really good when you're on top of your game. You got some momentum going on your side. Right now, Jeff Gordon has led 28 laps. The car's been flawless throughout the day. Pit stops have been good. The guy's been game on right now. So this Jeff Gordon momentum has continued right now.
Only one driver has led more laps than Gordon today. That would be Joe Logano, who has tallied 40 out front. The opposite end of the spectrum from Jeff Gordon is his teammate, Jimmie Johnson, who we also talked about. Lately, his numbers have just been abysmal.
Yeah, just the luck that this race team has had over the past several weeks has just been incredible. They've had all their bad luck at once, and once he got out front today, we saw him win 21 laps today. That car's really strong. He did just come back down pit road about a lap and a half ago. I think they got a shifter in that car, but it's been incredible, the bad luck.
One more of the themes we touched on earlier, restarts. I think we described them as crazy, crazy.
Love
and
'em.
so far they have been just that, crazy, crazy, crazy. And guess what's coming up again?
Restart.
Restart.
Another restart. You see him bomb off in the corner, 4 and 5 wide. We showed NASCAR Countdown 6 wide, how big they got. But I'll tell you, these restarts are an opportunity to pass a lot of cars, which are really dangerous. And these restarts so far, we saw a lot of cars getting out of shape.
Yeah, the instability is what's really got me intrigued. These race cars diving down into the corner 2 and 3 wide, and that guy or gal in the middle can get sucked around. Really look at these cars, how unstable that middle car is with all the air moving around. It's going to be fun.
It is different, though.
Fun
You
to
heard
watch.
Alan talk about it earlier, the weather between yesterday during practice and today. It is drastically different. That has to have a big impact on how these cars are handled.
Well, it really does. And Andy hit it best when he was up there in the booth, and he had the question posed to him, what happens? He said the cars just get faster, and they really do get quicker. I mean, the splitters start hitting, the cars handle a little bit different. But right now, the weather still is cool. We're still overcast here in Michigan, but we got a lot more rubber on the racetrack. The cars are all starting to settle in, and now these crew chiefs and drivers pretty well know what they got. And I would say their final adjustments are pretty far along the way right now.
Under caution right now, substantial cleanup after a very hard hit by Kyle Larson. Mike Massaro, how is he?
We're about to find out, Nicole. He's just walked from the care center. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine. It's just it's a shame, we're up there in the points battle, so we just have to work even harder now with our Target Chevy to try and get in the chase. Sucks we had that deal happen on pit road in the beginning. That really killed our day. And just led to the blown right front there. I thought we had a car capable of winning the race for sure. Before that competition caution, we were really fast. I could pass people no problem and was catching the two in front of us. And then on pit road, me and the 88 got together and messed the toe up, which and it hurt the body too. So had a lot of work to do, but the Target team worked hard to get it back out there and just blew right front. Blowing right fronts does not feel good, so hopefully we're done with that.
The good news, though, Nicole, is that he is okay.
Bad news, not a good hit for Kyle Larson when it comes to making the chase. Remember, we are counting them down. The final half of this race for Michigan coming your way in just a bit.
Still under caution here at Michigan. Note about Monday Night Football preseason action. RG3 and the Redskins facing Johnny Football and the Browns. Cleveland and Washington starting with Monday Night Countdown at 7 Eastern, followed by the game at 8. Also available live on Watch ESPN. Reading that the plan was for Brian Hoyer and Johnny Football to split some of the time, and Cleveland folks looking to name their starter early this week. Could be interesting. Could be, yes, for a lot of people. So we work this extended cleanup under the caution flag. An extended yellow that's allowed Jimmie Johnson to make several pit stops to get that shifter lever repaired in the 48.
Think look good to you, Jimmy, in there? Yep. All right. Let's go see if we can make something happen. That's 4. Nice job, boys.
So Johnson back in 26th place, but just one lap down, and with a lot of racing left to go. Up front, Ryan Newman's the leader, Joey Logano's second, Jamie McMurray, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Jeff Gordon round out the top 5.
Have you heard what the 22 is complaining about? Yeah, absolutely. So he's loose as he runs in clean air, and then when he gets the traffic, he gets tight and loose and lacks grip, and he basically just said, you have a really fast car. Yeah.
Yes, he does.
Yeah, one of those we knew for sure.
Gordon and Logano have done most of the leading in this one. They've led 68 of the 105 laps. Jimmie Johnson, the other alternate leader on the alternate pit schedule that he has been on for much of this race. Still cleaning up and awaiting the restart. Doubled up for the restart here in Michigan. Before we go back racing, quick reminder, the Lucas Oil NHRA Nationals finals can be seen tonight at 9 Eastern on ESPN2. And then next weekend, the NASCAR actions in Bristol. On the High Bank Half Mile, Bristol Motor Speedway, the Nationwide Series, Friday at 7 Eastern time on ESPN. And the night race at Bristol, our telecast presented by AutoZone, next Saturday night, 7 Eastern on ABC. 2 wheels, 3 wheels, 4 wheels. We've seen a race car or two minus some wheels today here in Michigan so far. Mike?
Well, we're recapping the story with Jimmie Johnson and that broken shifter. I got to give the team a lot of credit for their ingenuity on those vice grips. They actually modified them a little bit. They welded a piece of steel to them so that they could reach down into the well where the nub, and Ron Malik says there's barely a nub, of the gear shifter left. That didn't work. So instead, they repaired the whole thing, installed, as you can see in this shot, a whole new shifter lever, and hopefully that situation's behind them for the day.
Jimmie Johnson in 26th place. He's actually going to lose a few spots here because he's got to go to the end of the line for too many men over the wall on one of those pit stops to make those repairs. Ryan Newman, 31, the race leader. Joey Logano, 22, and Jamie McMurray, 1, got on pit road just before the caution came out. Gained him a lot of track position.
Look at Austin Dillon trying to gain spots on this restart.
Time we haven't seen this 24 be fast all day is on these restarts. So we'll have to see how that affects him as this race plays out today.
Restarts and getting away from his pit box on pit stops too. So Logano back to the lead.
That 24 car is so solid through the corner. Couple of them out of shape.
Watch Casey Kane in the 5 with a little help maybe from Allmendinger.
Boy, that thing was hung out.
Three wide. Keslowski 2, Menard 27, Kurt Busch 41. 8th, 9th, and 10th, and 11th, and 12th.
Really been a little surprised that the 2 hasn't been better here today.
Yeah, they've just been kind of average. They've not been bad. They just haven't really shown the strength I thought they had.
Dale Jr. From the I might have a right front problem to the right side's only change on the pit stop. The follow-up report that there was nothing that looked ill on the right front of that 88 that came off the car. So here's Junior now taking 3rd from Jamie McMurray.
I think one of the things he's probably been a little sensitive about that right front corner since he had contact on pit road. Anytime he feels something that's a little bit abnormal, he would be thinking that maybe they've got a problem up there, but they didn't find that, and looks like his car is still plenty fast.
Good look back through the top 15 or so there. Weren't they 3 wide a lap or 2 ago, just in a different order?
Switch in and around to see which their cars work better in, I think, here. But Keselowski comes out on the front end of this battle right now.
Busch was in that group last time. Subtract Kurt, add Denny Hamlin into this race for position anyway. So Keselowski in 10th, Menard in 11th, and Denny Hamlin back in 12th place. Kurt Busch up ahead of them has moved up to 8th spot.
How this racetrack has really widened out, giving these drivers a lot of options through the corners.
This Jeff Gordon thing, losing ground initially and then gaining it back and having a really fast race car. It's kind of intriguing if you look ahead to the end of the race and think of how important restarts and track position and pit stops have been and so on. He's clearly got, if not the best, one of the best cars in the field today. keeps having to rally a little bit.
Yeah, and obviously later on, if he's not able to do that and minimize that of being able to stay where he restarts or something, then it's going to take away his chances of winning. But a lot of green flag racing probably here throughout the last half of this race, and that's certainly going to benefit this 24, even though the 22 has like to maybe have helped his car, and he struck out front, not too loose right now.
Well, I think the big key thing with the 22 is he made a pit stop right before that caution for Larson's blown right front. That was able to get him back up to the lead, and we've seen what clean airs were. And that's kind of hurt Gordon. Had to restart behind. He got 4 tires, so started behind some guys that got 2, and the guys that were able to get on pit road before the caution. One of those that stayed out is Ryan Newman in 31. He last pitted on lap 78. His car is really fast when he has track position. If he can he needs to get to about lap 120, 121. Then he can be inside his window.
So he's kind of on a strategy by himself right now among these top group, right?
Yep, he is. He's the only one I see that pitted back at lap 78. Everybody else reset at 99, 96 for the leader, Joey Logano. Like I said, he got in just a little before the caution came out.
One of those drivers, and speaking of Newman, needing a victory to get himself situated inside the chase. For sure, he is there on points right now. But would certainly like to have that victory.
But not by much. Yes, he's the second driver in that winless column right now, but only 19 points ahead of being out. Newman running second behind Joey Logano, just ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. Still got plenty of racing to go in the Pure Michigan 400. The race leader in the Pure Michigan 400 is Joey Logano in that 22. As we welcome you back to Michigan International Speedway and remind you that you can go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. Logano has the race lead because Ryan Newman is on the pit road. Jamie?
And Ryan Newman, like you said, they're off strategy by a few laps. And in regards to winning, he said, we don't need to win to be in, but we want to win to prove that we can. You see here a 4-tire stop, a chassis adjustment. Car has been decent today with good speed. They wiped the grill, and he's down and away.
Looked like they waited on getting all the fuel in there, too. Second place changing hands. Kevin Harvick around Dale Earnhardt Jr. Harvick looking to break a dubious streak here at Michigan of finishing second in 3 consecutive races here. That's great performance.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who take that.
But it's not the one you want.
No, not Harvick.
They don't pass out second place trophies here in NASCAR.
See Dale Jr.'s car with I was going to say a little wiggle, but that's a pretty big wiggle getting down into turn 3 there. So he just changed 2 tires that last time.
Jeff Gordon by Jr. That's up to 3rd place for the 24. Had cars take the wave around to get back on the lead lap at that last restart. They included Eric Almirola, Casey Mears, Cole Witt, David Gilliland, and Carl Edwards. Those cars just came onto the pit road a moment ago. One of them, the one pictured on the right, came down twice. Mike?
Yeah, that's because the first pit stop did not go as smooth as they had planned. They made a core tire change. Unfortunately, did not get all the lug nuts tight on the left rear. Had to come back down. That pit stop, though, although they just tightened the lug nuts and filled it with topped it off with fuel, I should say, didn't go smooth either. Carl stalled it on the way off of pit road. So a series of errors there over the last few laps for the 99.
So Edwards having a difficult day after seeing, as you see there, that he started up in 3rd position. It's not gone the way they hoped for the double nines today here in Michigan. Greg Biffle, Paul Menard racing 8th and 9th. Talked about Biffle and Menard and Ryan Newman right behind them, who's just come off the pit lane. He's a lap down in 17th now. The first car 1 lap down, but all of those drivers, whoa, hoping to find a way to win and get a place in the chase.
He's actually in a pretty good spot. He is the first car 1 lap down, so if it costs you come out, he'd get to make that up.
With Newman pitting from 2nd place and coming back out as the first car 1 lap down in 17th, it just creates an interesting point because Jimmie Johnson, after all the pit stops and starting at the tail end of the field on that last restart, raced his way up to be the first car 1 lap down and be in position, should the caution come out, to get the free pass and get back on the lead lap. There's Jimmie in 18th place. But because what just happened to Newman on the cycle, Jimmie's now the 2nd car 1 lap down, and you saw he's got quite a bit of ground to make up to have a shot at running down the 39 car on the racetrack. A 31 car, sorry. Yeah, that's last year's number. I feel great, Shane.
Yeah, Newman, it would be a long way, even though he's got fresher tires on now, he's got a long way to go to unlap himself behind Joey Logano because you lose so much time here with that green flag pit stop.
Yeah, with the lap times that Joey Logano's laying down, I don't think too many of them are going to catch him.
So Ryan Newman there in 17th place, having pitted 26 laps after the other leaders and on his own pit stop schedule at this point. 6th and 7th here, 1 and 2. McMurray and Keslowski. While Kurt Busch takes 4th place away from Dale Earnhardt Jr. So the handle on that 88 car has gotten off later in this run after he looked pretty sporty in the earlier part of it.
Yeah, I think the combination of 2 tires and when you have the toe end off still a little bit, a lot of times with it towed in, it will wear that left front a little bit more too. So a little bit of a gamble they took here, but we'll see how it works out for them as things play out.
71 laps to go here in Michigan. Joey Logano, the race leader by 4.5 seconds over Kevin Harvick. Logano's led the most laps today, well out in front now, but a long way to go.
Back at Michigan International Speedway under green flag pit stop, Dale Earnhardt Jr., whose car had been loose most of the day. He said he was on the splitter the last few laps. The car would not turn. Tied into one. They will come in, and they'll have to make one more stop for fuel. Left side tire is going on. Got to get it full of Sunoco fuel. He's down on the way. Great pit stop, just over 13 seconds.
So Dale Jr. pitting from 5th place. And Steve Letarte trying to calculate out what's going to be the right strategy to have his driver on over these remaining 65 laps. There's the race leader, Joey Logano. Last stopped at lap 96. 40 laps will be the next one that he completes. So not all that long until we see this race leader on the pit lane again. Jeff Gordon has moved around Kevin Harvick to second and is faster than Logano these last several laps around, eating into the lead that the 22 has. Problem for Gordon is, the last few times he's come down pit road, his car seems to have trouble getting away from the stall on the stop, and when we've had restarts, the car seems to have trouble getting away from the restart a little bit.
Well, everything can't be perfect, so as a driver, I'd rather have it be a little slow leaving pit road and fast on the track.
Once he gets it wound up, it's hard to stop him, though.
Yeah. There's Kevin Harvick, 3.5 seconds back in 3rd place. Looking for 4th place, Kurt Busch. Stewart-Haas cars running 3rd and 4th. There's Kurt, who started back in 16th place. And behind him, Jamie McMurray and Brad Keslowski still racing for that 5th and 6th positions. Sidebar note here, as the leaders begin to come to pit road, everybody has come back on the racetrack whose cars were damaged in those early incidents except Kyle Larson, whose car's been retired from the race. So Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick, Jamie McMurray, all on the pit lane here under the green flag with 62 laps to go. Doc?
McMurray's got a very good race car. Said he was tight at the beginning of the run on the splitter and won. That's why he lost those spots up front. Then he got very free the last 15 laps. That's going to necessitate a chassis adjustment in the right rear and right side tires only, waiting on fuel. Jamie.
24 at Jeff Gordon saying little tight getting in everywhere. 4 tires stop. Let's see how he exits here. Still a little sluggish, but I just heard Alan Gustafson say they were making an adjustment to try to help that short run speed, guys.
Clint Boyer, Casey Kane, Paul Menard, Denny Hamlin all in. Mike?
And Clint Boyer has said he's been loose in, expecting a 4-tire change on his machine. Now, Paul Menard on pit road as well, 4-tire change there. He's been saying the car's been a little bit loose. They'll try to tighten it up with air pressure. Jamie?
Casey Kane early today, he had some trouble on pit road, lost some time. He had some voltage issues, but the car seems to be doing okay. He's working his way to the front, saying the car gets tighter as the run goes on, but it starts out just right.
Here's Joey Logano pitting from the race lead with 60 laps to go, Jamie.
And Joey Logano saying he's a little free in traffic, in tight and clean air. Overall, the car is okay. He hasn't been thrilled with it despite leading the most laps today. A 4-tire stop. Want to keep the pace, they'll pack them full of Sunoco fuel. Meanwhile, Brad Keselowski right behind him. That is his teammate. 4-tire stop here. They'll fill him up with fuel. Car hasn't been exactly like he hoped. He thought they had a car to win, so trying to get that car better here for the closing laps.
Kurt Busch had taken over the race lead. Now he presents the 41 car on the pit lane. And as they come up off the pit road, Gordon's going to squeeze in front of Logano and Harvick. Doc?
4 tires for Kurt Busch that I have no grip at all. Air pressure change, both rears, half around track bar. Jamie.
And Marcus Ambrose coming off that great finish at Watkins Glen, didn't get the win, but a heck of a race and performance for us to watch. 4-tire stop here for the 9 car. Car has been decent as they work on the left side of the car. fill them up with Sunoco fuel for the 9. Wipe the grill, rate stop 13 flat.
So on that exchange of pit stops, Jeff Gordon pitting 1 lap earlier than Joey Logano. 2 laps earlier, beg your pardon. Comes off the exchange of stops ahead.
Well, the driver did his job there, because the only way that can happen, you're not going to beat them that much on pit road. So Jeff Gordon did a great job getting in and off.
Or on the racetrack. You know, the tires are not worth a lot of speed. They're a little bit, but not much here. So just the fact that he pitted a little earlier, it wasn't worth a whole lot of track time.
Kurt Busch, Jamie McMurray racing for 6th and 7th. Logano had a 3-second lead on Jeff Gordon when that cycle of pit stops began, when the 24 went in. How big a deal will that be in the overall story of the race? Well, we've got 57 laps, still a quarter of this one to go before we find out. Jeff Gordon leads the Pure Michigan 400. Live at Michigan International Speedway, the Pure Michigan 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on an overcast 71-degree day in the Irish Hills. The race being led by Jeff Gordon, just shy of its three-quarter mark. A look at the danger zone brought to you by Nationwide Insurance. We illustrate the chase bubble and the drivers winless that are trying to get in on points. Starting the day, there were 4 positions on points. Most notable on the day, this young man, Kyle Larson, who was in a big crash earlier in the race, and he's out of the event. Larson started the day in one of those positions on points, 9 points to the good. Now you see he's 21 points to the bad as they run with what's going to be likely a 43rd place finish, 42nd or 43rd on the day today. Ouch.
Yeah, that's a big hit, certainly. It's going to take 3 really good races from that 42 team and probably have to hope that some others have some problems, which going to Bristol next week, we know anything can happen there.
And Atlanta.
Yes.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. 88, Ryan Newman 31. This is 5th and 6th place. Earnhardt Jr. just took that spot from Newman. Remember, Ryan is on a little bit of a different pit schedule than these guys he's racing with. Newman is off by about 15 laps from some of these other front runners. And the ongoing Brad Keselowski, Jamie McMurray race for position. Finally won out on by Keselowski.
It's like they might have made a little adjustment that's to Brad's liking. His car hadn't seemed to be on low air pressures, new tires, hadn't seemed to be up to speed like what we have seen in the past with him. So maybe an adjustment helped them here. Well, they've been doing to this too, Jamie. Looks like it's a little better now.
Just a little better, and all they did actually, DJ, was add air pressure and put 4 tires on it, and Brad just radioed in and said, she's pretty good right there. So they're moving in the right direction a little bit at a time.
Yeah, that air pressure can definitely be your friend as a driver, especially trying to get up to speed and going. When it's low, you just have to wait for that build up. The car doesn't do a lot of things that you'd like for it to do, so it's like that's been a big plus for them.
Yeah, the negative side is that after your long runs, when it builds up a lot, you lose a little grip. So it's kind of a trade-off for the early versus late part of the run.
Well, the only thing we haven't seen is a lot of drop-off in the times, so you're not getting as much of that as what we've seen in the past. So it may help them as they make this adjustment.
Yeah, it seems like that is a good gainer for. But you don't lose much in these long runs at all.
Brad, a native of Rochester Hills, Michigan, one of the suburbs of Detroit. This racetrack, his home track, one which he very much wants to win on. His best finish here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is a 2nd place run in this race 2 years ago. He does have a Nationwide Series win here, in fact 2 of them, but has not yet to find a way to take home the big trophy from this race at his home track. You see on the side of that car, Careers for Veterans. Brad and his sponsors teaming up to support a cause this weekend here on the side of their race car. Jeff Gordon's race car is fast. Out in front of Joey Logano by 1.2 seconds.
Back in Michigan with Jeff Gordon and Alan Gustafson in pursuit of their 3rd win in this 2014 season. They have about a 2.5 lead over Joey Logano. It's been an interesting day so far as we approach the next round of pit stops. Let's take a look at what has happened with the 5-hour Energy rapid recap. It started on lap 5 for Kyle Busch. Not so good.
Yeah, he just made a mistake. He got loose off the corner and clobbered the wall. Had to go to the garage here. He's many, many laps down right now. 32 laps off the pace. Been a bad day for Kyle Busch.
The theme lately is you don't want to miss a restart. You never know what's going to happen. This was on the lap 25 restart. Danica Patrick collected a number of cars, including Matt Kenseth, just adding to the bad day for Jogan Racing.
Yeah, she got sandwiched in the middle there, got spun around and tore Matt Kenseth's poor old race car up. And I tell you, he's just as bad, Rusty. He's 30 laps off the pace. Terrible day for those 2 JGR cars.
Also, bad day for this young man, Kyle Larson. Trouble in the pits, that's what started it.
Yeah, he leaves the pit area, clobbers the right front of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car as Jr.'s pulling out of the pit area. They had to put a fender on. Now he blows the right front tire in the wall. Car burst into flames. He is out for good today. They've been working on that thing, but I don't think they're going to get that baby back out. It's pretty well ruined today. That thing's wiped out.
And of course, with Kyle Larson, it's all about making the chase grid as we count down the chases or the races until the chase. Just not good for Larson, Alan.
No, not going to be a good day, and those standings are going to take a big shake-up here as we head to a place that can shake them up even more. Bristol next Saturday night for the night race, Nicole. Jeff Gordon leading 2.2 seconds ahead of Joey Logano, 4.6 seconds ahead of Kevin Harvick. Carl Edwards pitting, Mike.
Yeah, and he was out of fuel as he came down pit road. You can see him trying to refire that. The team pushing him off pit road. Back up to speed finally after a 4-tire change.
Ryan Newman in his pit box saying to keep it revved up. His pressures were down. They're trying to take a look at it. Ryan giving them up. He's saying right now the pressure is good as they work on the left side of the car. It's been a pretty decent day for the 31 car, whose strategy is off from the leaders, and he's down and away.
The Newman pit stop, and one we saw by Brian Vickers just a few laps ago, sets a couple of people in the window to make it to the finish. Well, Newman, I think for sure. Vickers, maybe. Watch the end of the green flag pit stop with 44 to go for Vickers' team and how long they wait on fuel.
Yeah, this is going to at least mitigate a little bit of that disadvantage they had with that loose wheel where they had to pit under green. It's just outside their window. It looks like they're going to try to stretch this. About 43 laps I think they'll have to go in this run to make it to the end. I think Newman can do the 39 laps pretty easy, so he's made his last pit stop.
So there's Brian Vickers, who after the extra pit stop they had earlier in the race finds himself back in 20th place. Carl Edwards making a pass-through penalty. Pit crew went over the wall too soon on the green flag stop you saw covered a second ago. The lousy day for the 99 continues, and a move to pit road here by Joey Logano. Second place car in for what would be his final pit stop of the race with 36 to go. Here he is, Jamie.
And the car has gotten better for Joey Logano the last stop. They just added tape and 4 tires, and the car has been good. They work on the right side of the car. He's led the most laps today. Remember, he's the defending winner of this race 1 year ago. Filled him up with Sunoco fuel, 6.9 seconds. We'll see if that'll be enough.
Jeff Gordon, Kevin Harvick following in. Let the games begin.
Yes.
Jamie?
Kevin Harvick, they've been working on his car today. Meanwhile, you see the 24 all the way down as he angles it. Both cars in, right side. Work on the right side of the 24 and the same on the 4. The 4th, he's been good, but he said he just can't go anywhere. Not fast enough. Jeff Gordon pulls out of his pit box. Got just enough fuel.
Time differences there between the 24, 22, and 4 pit stops.
You can see the 22 is going to go by the 24 there.
It's about a second and a half difference in the time they sat in the pit boxes.
Yeah, you have to wonder if they've got enough fuel in that 22 car to make it to the end as short a time as they spent on pit road.
Doc?
41 car tied in, loose off. He said, don't slide those tires. Right side's only, top it off with fuel. Meanwhile, up pit road, the 88 car, he said, I'm really tied into 1, and I'm really loose entering 3. That's going to obligate a 4-tire change and air pressure adjustment for Dale Jr.
David McMurray on and off the pit lane.
And they opted for 4 tires on that one car.
Because the guys that are in front of them took just, Brad Keslowski in trouble.
And was the leader.
Caution.
Caution is out. Stay up high. Stay up high.
Brad had cycled to the race lead by these other pit stops. And that has all the makings of a right front.
But definitely flank standing pretty hard.
Hey, just looking at the scoring monitor, too, somebody is going to put back in this thing is Jimmie Johnson, I believe, got back on the lead lap here, possibly. And with not a lot of cars on the lead lap.
When you watch this replay, I'm almost sure that Brad felt something coming down the front straightaway. It looked like he kind of hedged his bet, get into 1. Thought he might have had this tire going down.
Wow.
Yeah, at least by staying up as high as he was, the angle wasn't as bad as it could have been. I'm not sure he actually steered it up. I think maybe it was going down. He couldn't get it down to the bottom. It didn't turn.
Stay up high here.
You can see that angle wasn't quite as bad as what we saw Larson when he blew the right front. Not near as much damage either.
So the 6th caution of the race comes out with now 32 laps to go. In the middle of a cycle of pit stops.
Yeah, the big loser here, the cars that stayed out on the track, Casey Kane, Boyer, Biffle, even Allmendinger, they had not pitted yet. They're going to have to make a pit stop while these cars that pitted in the green stay out.
Well, I'll tell you why I'm going to suggest to you that the damage might not be that bad on that. Because they weren't going to be able to take just a splash of fuel or 2 tires and leapfrog any track position anyway, because the leaders took that. The caution closes them up.
Yeah, so it actually doesn't hurt them too bad.
And they're going to have 4 tires here under caution.
So the cars that hadn't pitted under the green here in under the yellow flag. Mike?
And A.J. Allmendinger coming down pit road's been complaining the car's been too loose. They're going to make an air pressure adjustment, also a chassis adjustment. Around a wedge we're expecting, 4-tire change in the 47. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer away after a 2-tire change, Jamie.
Casey Kane saying his car is free all the way through now, so it's taking swings all day long, loose to tight. The 16 of Greg Biffle, his car, same thing, loose to tight. They were hoping to be a lot better, and the speed is better from the last time they were here. 14.3, they took their extra time on that stop to get it right.
So Jimmie Johnson back on the lead lap, exiting the pit lane there. Ryan Newman gets the free pass. Track position shuffled up a little bit, but that car shuffled back to the front. Joey Logano, the leader for the upcoming restart. About to be 29 laps to go as the pace car leads the field across the start-finish line in the Pure Michigan 400 and gets the 1-to-go signal, doubling up for the restart. Green flag pit stops interrupted by a caution flag. The leaders had been in for just a splash of fuel. Joey Logano there for considerably less than the guy he's been racing with for the lead most of the day, Jeff Gordon. Jamie, do they have enough?
Well, you guys, according to our clock, you were on pit road for 6.9 seconds. Was that enough time to get it full to the end?
We got what we need with this caution. We'll be right there, but I think this caution will get us to what we needed. Kind of take some gambles here, try to get ourselves out in front of that 24. They're pretty tough once they're out clean air.
All right, well, the 22's been class of the field so far, Alan, leading the most laps.
Well, that's the position they're in. They can take a chance. They can roll the dice, and that was the only way, really, they're going to be able to leapfrog past that 24 because he's been so fast. Got to run hard now, though.
Day that's had 6 caution flags in it and has set us up for a series of splashes there on pit road and people wondering if they're good to go to the finish. We heard from Joey Logano's team. What's going on Jeff Gordon's radio?
We're good on fuel, right? Yes, that's cool. We're right at it. We're good. So go hard, get it past.
Been a pattern all day. Jeff Gordon has had the better car once it gets going a few laps. But in those few laps, Joey Logano can get away and give Gordon a little bit of a gap to have to eat into.
Yeah, the 2 cars that have probably struggled as much on the restarts are on the inside line. That's Gordon and Kevin Harvick. So they stack that up back there, and how many spots might they lose? They're going to have to be on top of it right here. Adding a lap here, looks like.
Yep.
That'll definitely help the 22 on the fuel thing.
That truck's not much competition for those guys there.
No, they want to get him safely off the track before they turn him loose here, especially as interesting as these restarts have been. Not with us earlier, had a big wreck after a restart back at lap 24. Involved a half a dozen cars. And the restart's always pretty wild here at Michigan anyway. They fan out 3 and 4 and sometimes more wide. We were talking earlier about Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon having some troubles getting away on restarts from time to time. Here's the half dozen car pileup I was mentioning. Very early in the race, all of those cars have returned to competition. Jeff Gordon gets put in the middle and gives up a couple of spots.
Yeah, he's in a lot better spot now down the inside there, up on the very front of kind of knowing what he can do there and controlling this restart better than being behind others.
Big rash of yellow fever early in the race after the long green flag run of 60 laps. Are we going to have another rash of yellow fever? Or are they going to get away from this one and run it out to the finish?
I don't know if we're going to have a caution, but we're going to have a mad scramble right here because we think this is important. These drivers, it's 100 times more important to them. They understand the situation totally of getting out front.
Kurt Busch, 41. Watch him from that outside of row 2. A good restarter, had a good car all day, and has been known to display a sense of urgency on these restarts and get something for it.
Especially when he can see the lead. He can see it from where he is.
Here we go. Paul Menard to the inside.
Kurt Busch to that high side, just like you talked about. We got a spin.
Brian Vickers.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
Oh. Didn't get hit on the track, but just dug that splitter into the grass at the bottom of the banking. And we'll see what kind of damage he suffered when he gets back out of there. Brian was running in 18th place. And so the yellow flag out quickly again. So the answer to my question of would we run it out to the finish is no.
We'll see another restart. Here's Brian Vickers. He has a little wiggle. He's in the corner. Doesn't have enough room to really chase it. He's got the 23 of Bowman up beside him.
On these restarts, by the time you get down to 3, you're really trying to see if you can stay as close to wide open through there, getting these things up to speed as you possibly can. That just stepped out a little bit and didn't have any room there to correct it without hitting another car.
Just curious to see if that right rear was down already or came as a result of the spin for Brian Vickers.
The Pure Michigan 400 is brought to you by Pure Michigan. Your trip begins at Michigan.org. Nationwide Insurance. Nationwide is on your side. And Comfort Suites, your sweet success.
A lot of folks standing as they come to a restart with what will be 23 laps to go in the Pure Michigan 400. Joey Logano, the race leader, now with Kurt Busch to his inside. Last restart it was Jeff Gordon to his inside, and Jeff reacted to both the lane choice and the tactics of his opponent, who is the control car for the restart.
Why not get on the outside, Jesus. Keep right, bro, you're doing it. Keep right. Just find a way right here, you can do it. Tell them Logano is completely up the starts. He's like slowing down as we get into the box.
Well, he's right. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating as a driver when you're put in that position, but Joey is playing some games there. Don't know that there's anything wrong with that. Haven't heard anything about a warning, but he's definitely doing the right things to continue to keep himself out front.
And he's frustrating Jeff Gordon.
He has done that.
So now Kurt Busch to the inside of Logano, restarting here.
Kurt Busch out of
into the wall.
them right here. Keep coming. They're all coming. The wrecks are pretty bad. I see it smoking. Got the rear tire smoking here, Kurt. Just pay attention to it.
We stay
There are 4
under
tires.
green. We stay under green. Racing for the lead. Kurt Busch into the wall off turn number 2.
There he goes. I didn't think that tire was going to last. Now we have debris everywhere.
It's going to have to bring out a caution there.
And the caution flag out.
Out here. Caution's out.
Yellow fever it is.
We've said it for years upon years that cautions breed cautions.
Bumper crop here this afternoon.
Racing for the lead. Watch Kurt get right up on the door of Joey Logano to try and stall him in the draft a little bit. And then...
Good tight racing there. It's just so difficult to keep that power down as you're trying to get out front. You can see he just stepped out a little bit, chased it all the way to the wall, and then that's where the problems really began for him.
Someone said to me down in the garage this morning, when you're racing at these speeds, when the car steps out from that aero-trimmed and mechanically trimmed position that they're racing in now, it's really hard to save them.
Not very forgiving, I can tell you that.
On the bright side, he was racing for the lead in the closing laps.
Well, that's certainly what you want to be doing, but you'd like to give yourself a chance in that position to have a shot there when it gets right down to the end.
And you can see a lot of bits and pieces to be cleaned up on this racetrack before we go back racing. Free pass last caution went to Casey Mears. Free pass on this caution will go to Danica Patrick. That'll give us 19 on the lead lap, and we'll have a little less than 20 to go when we go back at it. Cleaning up the mess from the 8th caution of the Pure Michigan 400 after Kurt Busch, racing for the lead, got into the wall off turn 2, then cut down a tire and scattered bits and pieces from his 41 car all the way around the racetrack, getting back to pit road. Yellow fever, yes, early and then lately. Long green flag run in the middle, but we've had that whole cautions breed cautions thing in extreme today here at Michigan. Our ESPN in-race reporter is Greg Biffle, who's up to 7th place now as we work this yellow flag, DJ.
Hey, Greg, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
I got a copy.
All right, Greg, you've had a really solid day. Kind of get your thoughts as you look here inside the top 10. Maybe not the car that can go past these cars and win the race. So as we have these difficult restarts, what's your mindset? Just trying to basically stay out of trouble, not lose any spots, and make what you can of this day?
Yeah, I made an adjustment on that final pit stop. My car seems to be pretty good right now, so I really want to see this thing go back green and just maintain on these restarts. Get a good, clean restart, not caught up anything, and then go race these guys. Because I really feel like I can get, 3 or 4 of these guys and all these guys up here on 2 tires.
Hey, Greg, since we've had a cloud cover most of the day, any changes with the track most of the time?
Stay pretty loose most of the day. I've been chasing that, trying to tighten it up. I got tight on one run, and then I think the car's pretty good now, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Okay, thanks for talking. Good luck in these last 18.
Greg Biffle, one of the drivers that took 4 tires on the final pit stop, and again sits in 7th place at the moment as we wait on this restart. About all race long, Joey Logano and Jeff Gordon have been the 2 racing for the lead for most of it. And they're going to race for the lead on this restart again.
He really stayed out on the track, didn't he? Yeah. So there's nothing immediately right here. It's just the rain's 10 miles out and holding. We're going to get a shot here. You just focus on this restart and how you're going to get by.
That little blob of rain that Alan Gustafson was referencing has been sitting there about 20 miles away from the racetrack for about 2 hours now. Been watching it, didn't say anything about it because it hasn't been moving and getting any closer to us. So, here we go with, as we talked about on NASCAR Countdown, the kid that came to us known as Sliced Bread, or the greatest thing since, and has matured into a contending driver each and every week in these NASCAR Sprint Cup Series races. Looking to win this race for a 2nd year in a row, the still 24-year-old from Connecticut originally, Joey Logano, in command of the restart. Cleared him. Jeff Gordon to the race lead.
He finally figured something out on that restart.
Yeah, you can see he kind of waited back instead of going up there and letting Logano control that as much as he had been. Great restart by Gordon. Another one of those like he did at Indy. He knew that was the one that could make the difference in him winning this race.
I was just going to bring up that line. He said he got the restart of his life that led him to win the Brickyard 400. He's still got a very determined Joey Logano trying to find a way to him and around him.
Well, he's there. They touch.
Kevin Harvick and Paul Menard looking for a way through.
Yeah, if Logano doesn't complete this pass, he might lose 1 or 2 spots, though.
Logano's going to hang on as Harvick runs around the outside to 2nd.
Going to lose another spot, and maybe another.
Menard to 3rd. Dale Jr. to his outside for 4th.
So you got to give Jeff Gordon a lot of credit right there. He drove that car really hard down into 3. Did a great job to hold the lead.
Now Kevin Harvick, 2nd again at Michigan. If he finishes there, it would be 4 straight Michigan races as runner-up. Can he find a way to track down the 24 and find a way to the lead? Yeah, I saw that on the camera lens too.
These little raindrops right there. I don't know how the sense of urgency can come up any more than it is right now.
Now Paul Menard sitting there again. Another great restart. Got himself in position here once again to take advantage of anything should happen. If the 4 and the 24 get to racing, he could be right there.
And are we done with restarts?
Yes. He's looking in his mirror, though. That 22's coming back.
One of Paul Menard's best tracks. And here he is running third. Dale Jr. trying to find a way around Logano for fourth.
Logano making that car pretty wide on the front straightaway.
Jeff Gordon gets this 24 car out front, though. It's just, he beats everybody by a couple of tenths a lap.
Averaged over 200 miles an hour last lap.
And that's been the thing all day for this 24. We've talked about it a few different times, but if you weren't with us earlier, getting away from his pit stall and getting up to speed on restarts for a lot of this race has been the weak spot for Jeff in this 24 team. Last few restarts, he's been right there, but earlier that was what was the problem. Once he got going a couple times, he tracked down the 22 and raced him for the lead.
Well, he's getting better at it. I'll tell you, it was really bad at some of these restarts, and then he had that one at Indy. The ones today haven't been terrible, but he finally hit it just perfect that last one, and I think he's learning some things from that, because that's becoming the whole deal to win races anymore, is getting those restarts right.
And Jimmie Johnson racing there with Ryan Newman for 10th place after they broke the handle off the shifter earlier in this 48 car. Handed him a pair of vice grips on a green flag pit stop that he couldn't get hooked up. They got a caution, made repeated pit stops, got a new shifter lever affixed to that car. Now Johnson on the lead lap racing for a top 10 spot. I'll call that one a slump buster.
Wow, that's a huge comeback, and certainly has to be a little momentum for this race team to come back from that, because getting that lap down after having that issue, they've continued to battle, and that's the kind of the never give up attitude that this team possesses.
Jimmie asked about the summer slump he's been in of late earlier this weekend here at Michigan. Said, yes, I understand it, but of the 10 tracks that are in the chase, I would consider those to be 9 of my 10 best tracks. We'll be ready.
Yeah. He's proven over the years that they're awfully good.
So there's the gap. Jeff Gordon to Kevin Harvick, 1.2 seconds. With another full second back to third place Paul Menard and fourth place Joey Logano. The moment of the race brought to you by Dairy Queen, the restart with 17 to go when Jeff Gordon found a way to clear Joey Logano. And once he cleared him off the restart, Logano challenged back, and Gordon, as you said, DJ, just drove it on into turn 3 to find a way to stay ahead of him. Interesting coincidence. You mentioned the Indianapolis restart. The restart here with 17 to go. The restart that Jeff called the restart of his career at Indianapolis was with 17 to go.
That's his sweet spot, evidently.
Well, if you can fix it up so the last restart comes with 17 to go, Jeff's your guy.
Yeah, look out for Jeff.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, you give him too many chances of this, as good as he is, he's going to figure something out and a way to beat you. He's not going to continue to let the same thing continue to happen.
This race for 10th with Newman and Johnson got a little dicey.
I'll say.
All right, at 200 miles an hour, a lot dicey.
Yeah, and that position means something totally different to both of them. Newman's fighting for his life as far as staying up there in the chase, and so every position, every point means a lot to him. Jimmie Johnson just knows how much better it would be to say, hey, we came back and had a top 10 finish after all the adversity we faced.
He's not going to give up on it either.
It's still a race. Jimmie Johnson's not going to give up.
Bad day for Matt Kenseth today. Swept up in an accident earlier. Going to finish back around 38th place. Bad day for Kyle Larson, who's going to finish 43rd and last. A hard crash that Larson walked away from after a right front went down, and he slammed the wall in turn 3. Stories related to those winless drivers yet trying to find one of those precious few remaining positions on points into the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. If it holds up as it is now, we'll go down to 3 races left until the chase, with 4 places on points still in the balance, and races at Bristol next Saturday, Atlanta 2 weeks from tonight, and then of course the Richmond regular season finale to settle it all out. Here's the gap. Gordon and Harvick. Harvick finishes second here, his 4th straight runner-up finish. The record for runner-ups in a row at a track is 4. He would tie my partner DJ, who finished second 4 times in a row at Rockingham. And you mentioned this earlier when that subject of that record came up, that a lot of those were probably to Jeff Gordon.
I'm quite certain at least 2 of them were. But, yeah, I can understand this situation there. You know, you can be a little disappointed in second for the moment, but then you look back and think, what a great day you had to have to make that happen.
And a good day. You know, we thought initially, the initial reaction was the phrase good points day would go away with this win and get in, but as we've come to understand it as the season's gone on now, there is still great importance on a good points day for Paul Menard as he tries to find a way to squeeze into this chase. It's not a win, but it's going to help him a little bit.
That's what's so great about the system that we do have now, because you have both meaning so much. You can't be the best car and get a victory. There's only going to be one of those every weekend, one of those winners. So if you're not in that situation, then you make the most of it and get as many points as you possibly can.
Jimmie Johnson going to get by Greg Biffle here.
We finally got by Ryan Newman.
Yep, pick up 9th place. Biffle and the Roush Fenway team came here with high hopes that something they might have found from a test might have given them that burst of speed they needed. They certainly showed it in qualifying. Race trim, my assessment, agree or disagree, a little closer, but not quite there yet.
Not exactly what they're looking for and need, for sure.
And the white flag up for Jeff Gordon, who enters his final lap here at Michigan. The value of a team riding momentum and confidence and all believing in each other and pulling the rope in the same direction on display week after week with this 24. Remember, they were dominant last week at Watkins Glen for a while. Had an electrical problem, took him out of the race. They came back and have been so strong here at Michigan today. Checkered flag is up, and his 3rd win of the season for the 4-time champion, Jeff Gordon. For 3rd place, Logano barely.
Great job. So proud of you. We earned this one, baby. We earned it. And that was an awesome team effort. So proud of you guys. Way to go, man. What a season we're having. Great job, buddy. Thank you.
The 227th NASCAR Sprint Cup Series win for Rick Hendrick as a team owner. And for that driver, his 91st career victory.
And put a Chevy emblem on the manufacturer's trophy.
He did that.
That's it, buddy. You won that. You and your restarts won that race right there. Great job, babe. Great job. So proud of you. So proud of you guys.
Rick Hendrick wasn't even sure that race team was going to make it through the first year if they put it all together.
celebration for the winner and the hurt of the one who saw it get away.
Joey Logano climbs out, finishing third, having led 86 laps today. Joey, I heard you cue the radio when the checkered flag waved, and you said one too many restarts. Take us back to that final restart.
Yeah, I mean, we were battling these restarts pretty hard, and, you know, basically used every trick in the book that I had, and I know the 24 was also, and he was laying back really hard, and so every game that could be played was being played on the restarts, and I had a really good one. The last one I had to run, and then I was clear, I guess, and I should have pulled down in front of him and got the draft from him. Instead, he had enough momentum to get up to my quarter panel and pull me back, and then he had position on me going into the corner and was able to carry that momentum into the lead. And then I get one more final shot there and try to get underneath him off of 2, and I almost had him, and once again pulled me back. So, gosh, it's close. We had a really good show Penzo Ford. It's what we need to do before the chase to make sure we're in contention to win this championship. We're doing everything we need to do. Just I wish the last caution didn't come out. I thought I would have had a little better shot at it, but I'm just going to relive that in my mind for the next 2 weeks.
Little frustration from Joey Logano. Alan?
He fought hard, but he summed it up well. One too many restarts. As many as he held the lead through. It was the last one with 17 to go that got away.
He just got beat by a better car today and a better team. They just executed at the right time.
And the drive into victory lane for Jeff Gordon makes him our Goodyear Superior Performer today. Yes, he started on pole position. He led the second most laps in the race. But he had to work hard for that one. Like the intensity level of that conversation is pretty high.
Well, and seldom do drivers agree on any situation, especially when you battle as long as those two did for that spot.
Down to victory lane now. To talk to the winner, victory lane presented by Pennzoil. It's Jeff Gordon today at Michigan.
Congratulate Jeff Gordon. Special moments. It's been a special season for this race team. It's been 13 years since Jeff has been to victory lane here. You had to ask where victory lane was. First off, though, on people's minds, the difference in restarts, Jeff, from the first half of the race to the last half. Was it an adjustment or was it all hard?
It wasn't easy. It's never easy to win at any of these tracks, especially when aerodynamics and track position means so much. You know, I thought we learned a lot the last time we were here on track position. So Alan just called it a perfect race. Kept getting in that inside lane and just not getting very good restarts. And I knew it was going to get exciting with Kurt and Joey. Those two are very, very aggressive. And of course, Kurt got loose. And that last restart was it. I mean, we had the car to win. Our car was amazing, but whoever got out front had such a huge advantage. So, you know, I got a good restart, and Kevin, for some reason, wasn't getting good restarts, so Joey was sort of out there by himself, and I was able to get to his quarter. When I got to his quarter, I drug him back, and I was able to shoot to the bottom and get by. But he made a heck of an effort. I thought he was going to get back by me. He almost did. And I just need a couple laps for my tires to come in, and all of a sudden, we're out front setting sail, and the checker flag is waving. This is just unbelievably awesome. And got to say hi to Ingrid and Ella and Leo back home. They couldn't come today, but we're celebrating your honor here, and this is amazing. This is just fantastic.
Jeff, you said it on the radio. It's been quite the ride this season. 3 victories already. What is it about this car, maybe the rules package this year, that's just playing into your hands? What is it about you guys?
It's everything. You know, it's Hendrick Motorsports and the job that they do collectively with all of our teammates and the engineers. Everybody's building the chassis and bodies and preparing these cars back at the shop. Engines are amazing. And then I got to give so much credit to Alan Gustafson and his crew. I mean, this guy is such a great leader. I knew that he had this in him, and he's been showing it by bringing great race cars every weekend. And today was more than just a great race car. It took the whole team effort, making great calls. And of course, I had a good restart again. That was fun. But man, these guys, they're just awesome. I love it. Rick Hendrick's here. I love celebrating wins with him.
Just like at Indy, with 17 to go, had the restart of his life. And just like at Indy, it was in the same race car. Alan?
I'll tie Indy and Mission together two further ways for you, Jamie. The last 2 times Jeff Gordon won the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series title, he won at Indianapolis and at Michigan. 1998, 2001. 2014, Jeff Gordon won at Indianapolis, and today he's won here in Michigan. More post-race coming up. Jeff Gordon celebrating victory